All right, beautiful. Welcome in, guys, to One Piece chapter 1089. Today, we have the lovely Sanji with us today, and I myself am the cow from the cover story. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think about the cover story, Par?
The cover story was definitely interesting, right?
Yeah.
I the most notable thing was the jump scare that Oda put in. I feel like he's
The
a
Sanji in the
fan.
background.
Yeah, that was kind of scary when I saw that. I was like, well, yikes. Yeah.
Yikes. What are you doing, Sanji?
And then, if we're being honest, the way Nami turned Sanji down was kind of brutal, right? Like this note just says the stars outside, blah blah. Would you like to watch them with me? She's like, I saw them earlier. It's like, wait, like that, like you see the
Without
stars
me?
every night. Yeah, like you know
Without
what I mean. It's like like, oh, you want to go for a walk or like get a breath of fresh air, and then just like, oh, I've been breathing. It's fine.
I've been breathing for a minute. No, yeah, it's a little bit sad, but at the same time, it's a sweet way to turn them down. I don't know. I thought this is kind of romantic in a weird way, even though like obviously they're not like a couple. Some people are looking at this and they're finding meaning, saying maybe we're going to the stars, maybe we're going to the moon, and this is a hint towards that. How do you feel about those people?
Okay. Wait. Whoa. So because of this, they think.
Well, people already thought we were going to the moon.
Yeah.
But with this, they're like, hey, do you want to go to the stars? It's like, wait, like could this be blasting off into space? Who knows?
Or hey, if they're we're the king of looking deep, and so kings of but if there was a deeper meaning here, then maybe they're referring to Luffy, because Luffy's son got Nika, and so like, hey, do you want to watch Luffy go become the king of the pirates and shine, right? And then Nami's I don't know.
Nami says, nope. I want to see somebody else become king of the pirates. Sorry, Luffy. That's reserved for Don Krieg. You're right. You are exactly. I see where you're going, Par. I got you.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Thank you.
Don Krieg stocks are up. Yep. Alley-oop achieved.
I do want to point out though.
Yeah, what's up?
Did you peep who requested it?
Yeah. It's Parco, right?
Yeah, I wonder
guy named
where
Parco.
Parco.
Yeah, so that's why I came to you for the meaning, and all you gave me was an alley-oop about Don Krieg.
Yeah, but this is
Par.
this satellite that got KO'd. That's why it's Par KO. That's how you properly say the name. He's the dead. So like, like there's wisdom. This one's like literally just brain dead. As if I'm not already brain rot.
Yeah, there's a reason people call us the lobotomy boys. Let me tell you.
Exactly.
So with this cow, people are saying, hey, his tattoo looks familiar. The tattoo on his left arm.
Devil fruit?
It looks like a devil fruit design, but it also kind of looks like a Kainu's, sort of.
Isn't a Kainu's just like the Yakuza flower kind of thing?
Yeah, but if you take out the flowers, you're left with kind of like a pattern. Like, I don't know. The cow has tattoos. I don't know why, but the cow has them. And I just want to throw it out there, but I actually forgot that cows were all female for a minute.
Bulls are the males.
Yeah, bulls are the males. I forgot because like, I don't know, I looked at this and I was like, oh, like look at the homeboy like doing us a solid, passing on a note, and then I was like, wait, homeboy, home girl. So cheers to that one. So
wait, hold on. Is this a cow or is this a bull? Because do cows have horns, or is it bulls that have horns? I thought bulls have horns and cows don't.
Wait, what? Maybe you're right.
Isn't that a thing? Like maybe, so like the translation says a cow serves, but maybe they're just not.
No. Cows have horns.
Okay.
Wait,
cool.
Do they?
I thought bulls, like, cause I mean yeah, don't bulls have horns? I thought that's the point, right?
Oh,
like
both male and females have horns.
Okay, so wait, what's the difference between like? Is the bull just bigger?
I'm assuming the bull is just bigger.
Yeah. I mean,
I should know this. I worked at a farm for like 4 years. You think I would know like all about cows and cattle?
Wait, you worked at a farm?
Well, brother, I live in Oklahoma.
Okay. We
I
gotta
live
talk about
in
that.
Oklahoma. What can I tell you?
I have
My only
questions.
job was to push him through a chute.
Wait, why didn't you bring that up when we were talking about farms in the 50, like all those other times? We talked about the farm literally so many times and you never brought that up. What?
It's
Hello?
like hidden lore, you know?
All
People
right.
like rarely
Okay.
do people ask, "Hey, Sai, how was your day at the farm?" You know?
You're right. That it's on me. You're right. It's my fault. It's my
Thank you,
fault.
thank you.
Yeah.
Blame the questioneer, not the
Exactly.
answeree.
Yeah.
So we cut over and we see more cows at Fuchsia Village, Windmill Village. Who would have thought that we'd see good old Whoop Slap coming in on the first page of the chapter? People love this guy. Good old fan base behind him. It's all a meme, but man, he's great.
No, I'm it was crazy because my recent video I kind of did like this. It's kind of a funny thing. I put a silhouette in the thumbnail and I said your favorite character is the man marked by flames. I kid you not, like 10% of the comments was whoop slap, whoop slap. I'm like,
my favorite character, Whoop Slap, Don Krieg.
I was like,
shot. What's going on?
The first time I was like, there's no way. Like I thought, like I was like confused. Like why is this person commenting whoop slap? Then I remember my title. I'm like, wait, how come there's so many people that like chose the same meme character?
If I recall correctly, don't slander me if I'm wrong, but I think it was GLR who started that. I think it was Grand Line. Yeah. I think there's like a popularity poll, and one YouTuber asked everybody in their like group to vote for a gag character, Whoop Slap, which I think is hilarious. I think that's such a great use of like a community, right? Like if we all come together, maybe at the next popularity poll in America, Vasco Shot, or around the world, doesn't matter. Vasco Shot's gotta be the boy.
You'd want to use the power of the Western community to funnel it into him and not Don Krieg?
Well, either Don Krieg or Vasco Shot.
Don Krieg needs the love. He didn't even show up in the cover photo of the East Blue Boys. What do you mean?
You know what? I actually, unironically, I do wonder if the popularity poll had something to do with Whoop Slap. Like, imagine Oda was like, I just wanted to show Makino and Dadon, but, people love this guy. People love Whoop Slap. He has, like, they gave him 3 panels up in here. Makino only had 1. Or 1.5. But
the baby had
like,
more.
Wait.
Yeah, the baby was in more panels.
Yeah, the baby was in technically 4.5. So the baby's going crazy too. Which the baby, Par, whose baby is it? Are you the father? What's up?
Not that, but it's the funniest thing is I put various theories about Shanks and his family, and then so many people just commented, and I'm gonna go on a limb, and they must be like anime people or whatever. But so many people came in and like, no, my theory is that this kid is Shanks's baby. I know it sounds crazy, like that's how they came across this revolutionary idea, and I'm like.
Everybody starts their theory somewhere. I forgot what my first theory was. I think it was just like Big Mom is Lola's mother, which I guess was like where everybody was at though. It's like me coming up with that theory, and it's like, wait, everybody already thinks this. Dang, that's sad.
Yeah. And then the other half of the comments in that genre was, I'm pretty sure Shanks already has a kid. Isn't that kid, that green-haired kid that Makino has? Isn't that his? I'm like, what do you mean? When was that confirmed? And it's like between both of those things, I'm just like,
yeah, dude, you won't believe it. I hate to slander people. There's some people who actually said it's been confirmed already, and Oda said so himself. And I'm like, where do you guys get this?
Yeah,
I've seen that a couple times. They're like, well, Oda said that this baby is actually Shanks's. I was like, brother, like I wish, like if this were a thing, I'd be jumping for joy. But like, we don't know.
Yeah,
like, I'm leaning towards it being Shanks's kid. I think that would be awesome. It makes sense, right? Makino, Shanks, baby, like cool. But like, it's not confirmed. Like this baby's hair color isn't even 100%. Like it's so from the anime, it's dark green.
Yeah.
But because of some fan sites and how they color it, they're also saying this is red. It's like I don't know what's true anymore, man. Like, is it the fan sites? Is it the anime? Like,
do we have
what's up?
5. I guess this baby shows up in where would it be?
Yeah, hit us with your baby locator. Where
like,
was the child?
I'm trying to figure out because like there's the official colorings, right? Like
the official colorings. Oh, you're talking about the cover. It's 9:30.
9:30. That's where they show the baby.
It's around 9:30. I had the image earlier, but yeah, it's like Makino and Dadan, and they're holding the baby. But yeah, either way, this baby, it's still a mystery. What's the hair color? We don't even know, because if it was actually dark green, why is it shaded in like it's white in this chapter? I have no clue what's going on. This baby is somebody's. Maybe this is even a different baby. You'll never know. Oda is a wacky guy. Maybe he's saying something. Maybe Oda has a baby out there somewhere in the world and he just abandoned him.
No, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like
maybe
like
this is
Shanks...
modeled after him in his own life. Because he did say that Shanks would be just like Oda. So, you know, he could be glazing himself, which I would do the same. If I wrote a manga and I had a character like super cool, like super fit, one of the strongest guys in the verse, I'd say, hey guys, that's actually modeled after me. I do the same thing. So maybe Oda's just doing that. And that's fine. Or maybe he does have a kid out there somewhere. You never know.
I was just meaning more like, yeah, like that Shanks is... Because my logic was, in the Godfather Shanks video, that Shanks would have multiple Luffys. Like, there'd be like, wherever he's at, there's going to be a kid who aspires to be like Shanks. And then we got that on Elbaf, right? That giant kid. But like, you know, it transitioned to everything. Like, people's responses to that was like, oh, he has a kid with Makino, like he's not a deadbeat dad, like blah blah blah. And I'm like, how do you know? and then when we got
the One Piece like an S&P.
When we got and then when we got the Elbaf, the bartender there was the same way, and I'm like,
Shanks, you know, I don't blame Shanks. Like, maybe he wants to achieve a dream somewhere, and he's like, I can't do it, so you know what? I'm gonna raise 1 million kids to eventually fulfill my dream.
Yeah, he's trying to undo the trauma of his entire crew of being deadbeat dads by being there, sort of, at the when it like matters the most. Like,
yeah.
And like when he tells Luffy, he's just like, oh, like my headquarters changing, I gotta bounce. It's like, oh, that's perfect timing, huh, Shanks? Like, you were there for like the peak part of when he's like forming his framework for how the world works, and then he's just like, peace out later.
Maybe we need to try that out. Cool.
Yikes.
Me and you can go visit like random orphanages and be like, hey son, let me tell you. Have you ever heard of One Piece? And then we hang out for like a solid week hitting on the nurses, and then we just like bounce out.
Yeah, they're just like, oh my god, it's Par inside. It's crazy.
And then we leave them with like a bracelet or something. Oh man. Yeah, we'll take a page out of Shanks' book.
For legal purposes,
we're not doing that yet.
Yeah.
But check your DMs tomorrow. So anyways, we go around and we see that around the world, they're suffering from earthquakes, tsunamis, pitter-patters all over. And it's not looking too good, right? We even go to Kano Kingdom, which is kind of cool. We haven't really seen them that often, but we see them. And they're not looking solid. I don't know why they have such a long bridge that leads to their castle, but you know what? That's a question for a different day. Where is the North Blue? The North Blue is like the one place where I'm like,
Well,
where is that?
We do know.
Looks like a manufacturing plant.
Yeah, I don't know where this is, but there
Santa
is
Claus's
lore
office.
that we got recently about North Blue that I'm just like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is North Blue. It was Law's crew. It's like, if we could survive the frigid cold North Blue waters, then we could survive anything, guys. And then like this might be where they're from. That this could very
I like that. And I mean, hey, we do know that the North Pole exists, so maybe this is even the North Pole. Because that's what Shanks and Buggy were arguing about when they first met. Yeah. So boom, North Pole, South Pole. Maybe these are those locations. But either way, crazy earthquakes are going on. And then we go down, we see Laboon, Iceberg, Hina, Momonosuke. And yeah, even Impel Down. Impel Down is feeling it. I think they have it the worst, considering they're the closest to the Earth's core. Like the plates, I guess. Like, I don't really know how that works. But either way, everybody's feeling it. And then even Emu feels it, which they have a really weird panel where they're just like shaking. They don't really say anything. And then boom, we see that this is all caused by the hole that is now formerly known as Lelucia.
One thing that's a little interesting about,
Yeah.
well, we didn't get to this part actually, but what else about the whole Sai?
Water raised by 1 meter around the world. Displacement.
Yeah.
How is that even happening? When you have a hole, you'd think that you would lose water, right? Like, what's going on? You know, like when you have a hole, you fill the hole, and boom, it's gone. Like you lose things in that hole, but no, you actually got things from the hole. The hole gifted you life, and now you have 1 meter of water around the world. It doesn't exactly make sense. What's going on? What is this hole exactly? If you were to sail into the hole, would you also dive deep into it? Would you fall into the abyss, or would you bump into something? Who knows? There's something here. Or should I say something not here?
We talked a lot about water holes on the 50/50 podcast. So some could call us experts even. You know, how you would do a podcast.
Researchers of the Marianas Trench. That is,
exactly.
we love trenches. We are
exactly.
in the hole, boys.
Yeah,
we're also known as tunnel buddies.
We were talking about blue holes way before Garp made one in Aokiji. Gave him quite the hole. And so, you know, maybe that it's like a foreshadow, right? Like Garp made is like a mini Leloucia, mini mother frame. He's father frame here, right? And so
the big father.
Yeah, the big father making. Oh god.
Okay, we need to stop with the whole jokes.
Yeah. Well, there was one. It's not a whole joke,
but it's relevant though. It's relevant.
Yeah, which was I didn't think about this yesterday, but like earthquakes is fine, right?
Yeah,
in the sense of like something happens, like we've experienced this actually earlier this year where like in Turkey and Syria and like I think 16 places worldwide all felt an earthquake at the same time, and it was measured on the Richter scale. And then from there, like if it was large enough, like you could like notice it elsewhere in the world. You could measure it. It wouldn't be significant, but like, you know, you could feel it. And that's like what's happening here, right? Where they're like, oh, like we don't know where the epicenter is. So I guess it's you know, it's interesting, right? But what the other part of it was the sea levels rising, and I just registered this a little bit where like in the next thing it's like Fuchsia village and everyone there affected, and I was like, wait a second, like Leloucia's on the other side of the red line, and then like technically it wouldn't create like a tsunami type of thing because it would all have to go through the Fishman Island hole, and then it would be kind of like a slow raising kind of equilibrium thing. Yeah, so that was interesting.
The way they make it sound like if the water were rising on Fuchsia Village, Fishman Island is probably just a giant current now. Like it's all being blown away or something. If it's really moving at the same rate around the world, like we need to check on those guys. Like those guys aren't doing too good down there either. If that's the case,
like, it got really windy all of a sudden.
Yeah, that bubble will not protect them from that water current. Let me tell you.
You just see the bubble start like waving on the outside, and they're like, "Oh, that's never happened before."
What was the current they ran into after Fishman Island? Like the white serpent.
Strom.
White Strom. Yeah, I imagine White Strom is like destroying everything down there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking too good. There's a reason we didn't see the fish boys here. Maybe Arlong is stopping it though.
You know, and speaking of the fish boys, which we'll talk more about later because they're relevant to a certain extent. Well, you made them relevant. But it's like this hole is so interesting because it's like you would imagine, right? Like I think Enies Lobby kind of gave this feeling like they had like a fence around Enies Lobby, I think, and then the island was like in the middle, like, but in the water, I think there was like a fence outside of it. And I kind of don't remember because Enies Lobby...
There is a fence, yep.
Yeah. Like, Enies Lobby was around the Florian Triangle with the Gates of Justice. And so, like, the waters there were turbulent by nature. And then here, like, the waters are turbulent. But you would imagine that ship that's right there would be pulled into that hole. But it's like, for some reason, Oda is just making it like, this is just like a delete, like something just literally just disappeared, and that's just like the water's just falling, but it's not following any of the other parts of the physics that like
One Piece would entail.
Yeah, like One Piece, like, you know, a lot of people are looking at like, oh, like One Piece is a fictional world, whatever, but like what's crazy about One Piece and why a lot of people like it too is that Oda grounds like the craziness in reality, which is like it spans across like whether it's history, whether it's politics, whether it's geographic stuff. Like the Calm Belt is a real thing. The way the like rivers and waterfalls, like there's some things behind it, and he takes it to an insane degree.
Luffy's
but it's
family jewels are based on what we have.
Exactly. Sure. Yep. And then this, like Enies Lobby we knew about, but like now it's like, what is this? Like
Yeah.
not that I don't have an idea, but like it's weird.
Going back to what you said, like it's hard with One Piece because, like you said, like sometimes we get crazy. There's fantasy in here, but sometimes it is grounded in reality, and it's hard to draw that line, right? Because One Piece has put itself in a place where it can do either one, and we just kind of have to accept it, right? He could explain the 1 meter thing. He could explain why nobody's getting sucked into the hole, but he also couldn't. And then it would be like, oh, okay, I guess it's just a, it's a manga thing, whatever. So it's weird because like we walk that fine line of trying to distinguish what is based in reality and what is just Oda's imagination going crazy. But also with this hole, though, like you said, if we relate this to Enies Lobby is known as a place that has never-ending sunlight, right? I think we talked about that before. Never-ending sunlight over there. But this hole is dark. This is a dark, dark hole. Like, do you think that, give it a couple more days, like the sun's just going to burst through and... Wait, maybe that's the difference, actually. So we know, like, going on, skipping ahead, this was caused by something fueled by the Mother Flame, right? One way or another, Mother Flame is connected. It could be the ancient weapon from 900 years ago that did the same hole to Enies Lobby. But what if this is actually just a, 2.0 recreation of that weapon? What if the thing that separates Uranus or whatever caused the hole at Enies Lobby, and this one is the sunlight? Maybe that could be a thing, but I don't know. It's weird that it's a dark hole.
Yeah, that is, another good point, which is like, Oda... Now I've been seeing a lot of people bring this up, right? And we talked about this. They said that this was the earthquake was unprecedented, never recorded before in history.
Yeah.
And that implies that the Void Century is when the Enies Lobby situation happened, because if the Enies Lobby situation happened anytime else, then it would have been recorded. And we know that, like, for example, Ohara has 5,000 years of history. Tontadas have history before the Void Century. It's just the Void Century that doesn't have history. And so Enies Lobby happening during the Void Century is like, one thing. And then the other part of it is, people were speculating like, okay, the red line is super high up, so maybe, and we've so many countless iterations of the One Piece world flooding. I have a version, so many other versions exist, to the point where, yes, we expect like some kind of flooding thing, but like for the flooding to have occurred via this, you would need to have like the red line is like 20,000 meters high or something like that. So if this is every hole is 1 meter raising the water level, that would mean you have like 20,000 holes at some point.
Got a lot of holes down there, man.
And if the Enies Lobby situation is from the Void Century, you would imagine that this is just like, it's not like yes, like I get it. There's millions of islands. People don't know the One Piece world, but like, I would think that if you have that many holes on your planet, more people would notice like, oh, our world is Swiss cheese. Like, you know what I mean? Like they would,
the hollow earth theory would go wild.
Yeah.
I believe it at that point. Like you're telling me there's holes in the earth? We can go inside of it? Sure. Why not?
Like Morgan's is in the air flying. Like you wouldn't think that he'd like start reporting. Like he would be like the crop circle, like the alien conspiracy people.
Morgan would love this.
Yeah, and then like what they're up there. They're not studying this occurrence, right? Like so I think that Enies Lobby is the only other time that this has happened, given what we know now. Sure, that could break, but the interesting thing about that is that Enies Lobby has the characteristic, two primary things, which is one, it is, like you said, forever sunlight there. Right now, it's like it's raining and storming and that's like, wait, like, so does that change? Does that, but like, would that make sense? Or is something different happen the first time with Enies Lobby? And then the second thing was that at Enies Lobby, there is an island that just survived in the middle. And I'm going to go out on a limb and think that it makes less sense to think that the place was deleted and then some brainiac was like, you know where the best place is to make an island?
Right here.
Right where there's no foundation. Perfect.
I want to be able to fall off and die any day now. I love building cities in holes, man. Let me tell you.
And that alone is like, how did that survive? And then we go to the, like, a little bit deeper, which is Enies Lobby is the world government's judicial island, which when you think about it, it's like, it's not just the judicial island. There's Impel Down, there's Marineford, there's the Trifecta, there's the Gates of Justice. So Lelucia is on the side of the revolutionaries. Enies Lobby is on the side of the world government, which kind of implies, well, if the revolutionaries were hit by the world government and the world government was hit, their island was hit by it last time, then the ancient kingdom probably hit the world government with this weapon, and that's why they're testing it out here, which is like,
they're getting revenge.
Yeah, and then you know, is the sunlight related to that? Is it because Sun God Nika Joy Boy was doing it the first time, and what, Rain God Emu is doing it this time? Like, I don't know. It's a weird situation, you know?
That's how I feel. I really do think that Joy Boy is the one who used it on Enies Lobby. And in a different weird thing as well, like, the way I kind of see the island surviving. So it's either two things. It's either one, they built an island on top of Enies Lobby, the giant hole, to protect whatever's inside the hole. Maybe there's like an island there, and they don't want anybody to go there. So that's why there's a fence. That's why it's next to the Gates of Justice. And, you know, all the Marines can get there really quick if they wanted to, thanks to their currents. Mm-hmm. So it's either that, or I'm like, wait, maybe this island actually survived being nuked into the hole. Because we know that devil fruits, you know, a long time ago they were a thing too. So maybe somebody had the barrier fruit and they just put a giant
cracked.
Barrier around. Yeah, like they're super cracked, right? Like withstanding an ancient weapon, you know, saving a city at this, you know, to this extent, wild. But maybe the barrier fruit is what did this. And I mean, hey, like the barrier fruit's crazy. It's over here blocking Odin. And people are wondering if Shanks can even break the barrier at this point, which I'm like, dude. Crazy.
I'm thinking like there's a few examples. My Hero is one, but like Orochimaru Naruto, where like Naruto gets like the beast cloak the first time and gets the devil bomb, and then Orochimaru puts up a gate to block it, and he's like, oh shit, I need more than that, and he puts up like 6 gates, and then like Barto's like seeing the thing, he's like, oh god, we're gonna need more barriers. Yeah,
maybe there's a guy like back
he's crossing
in the day,
his fingers, his toes, his fucking butt cheeks, like every goddamn part of. Maybe that is how he like. Oh yeah, like he did 1, 2, 3. He crosses his toes, his legs, bro.
Or maybe it was a fishman like Hachi, and they have like multiple like tentacles. They're just crossing everything, like barrier. They awaken, and then after they tank this, they like pass out or something. Like, there's something here, man. Like, what do you think is more likely? Do you think this island survived the nuke, or do you think it got built after the nuke? Because I'm cool either way. Like, you know,
it survived.
You think it survived?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
I think the only thing that stops me from thinking it survived is because it's not just like an island in the middle. There's like a bridge to it. And I'm like, did that, maybe the bridge got built later, or like maybe they missed and they left that part there and then they created the bridge. But that bridge part is weird too, because it's like why would you shape the barrier? Like how did the
barrier look? It's like Sandy's dome. Is that what it looked like?
Yeah,
just like a giant dome and then like a bridge connecting to the ocean. Like it's weird, and that's one of those things where it's like we could sit here and make, you know, 10 different guesses as to what might have happened, and then Oda could just come in and say, yeah, it just happened, guys. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like we're just thinking about all of this, and it's like, are we right? Are we wrong? Who knows, man? I'm actually interested now. What do you guys think? Do you think this survived 900 years ago, or do you think it's like brand new? Brand new.
So there was a because like there's a few different explanations that could exist, like dimensional stuff. Like maybe Enies Lobby was taken to a different dimension then brought back, like, you know, like some kind of crazy occurrence like that. Or it could be that, like, there's a world where, like, an awakening, right? Like, Luffy's awakening turns things into rubber, and we've seen him reverse a Boro breath, right? And if my shadows theory pans out too, which, you know, given the anime, how they've been highlighting the shadows so far in the teasers, I'm like, whoo! But, like, if you do something like that, you could get a situation like that where, like, when Luffy rubberized the ground, he bounced the Boro breath back and protected the ground. There are, like, creative ways to go about it, but then you sit back and it's like, wait, why would Joy Boy protect the thing? And then maybe that is the situation. Maybe Joy Boy did accidentally set it off, and then he came to protect it himself, and then he died or some shit like that, right? So there's a few different directions. The barrier one is the obvious, like, simplest way. Me personally, I've been thinking, like, the bubbles. So that sounds weird, but, like, because one, I don't have my video out on it, but, like, bubbles have just been so, like, highlighted so much in the series that, like,
great
I feel
Powerpuff
like
Girl.
What? Oh, not the yeah. Honestly, Powerpuff Girl, you know, she has Toon Force, but as far as because, like, Vegapunk, he made the bubble thing that's apparently not indestructible, invincible shield or something like that. So, like, and then you brought up the Sandy Cheeks' dome, bro. And the shape of it, but, like, Fishman Island kind of has that shape too, with the bubble, and then it has the gate where it, like, has, like, the locking mechanism thing. So, like, maybe there's a world where, like, Enies Lobby got surrounded by a bubble. Maybe that's something that came out, and that was the defense that they came in. And I personally, like, you know, when we talk about the future of One Piece, or technically the past with the Void Century, I like the goofy things like that, where it's like this bubble is like this cracked ability, and that's just, like, a fun thing. But it's also, like, realistic given the series, and, like, the Fishman Island bubble is insane. It's, like, double layered one,
Surviving at that sea pressure.
Yeah, and then the Titanic sub could never. Take notes, guys. Bubbles, Fishman Islands got it down. That's not even. We were, you know, Titanic sub. The Titan sub, not Titanic sub. The Titan sub was what, 3,000 feet, you know, or something like that, right? Or
It was only measured to go 3,000 feet, but they went 10,000 feet.
Yes, and get Fishman Islands 10,000 meters below. You know, that's a factorial of a difference. Yeah. So if Oda wants the powers, I think I made a tweet about that, or, like, I didn't tweet about it because
One Piece versus Titan sub power scaling match, of course.
I wrote a script.
The classic.
I wrote a script, but I didn't put it out because, like, this is kind of insensitive.
Yeah. I would like it, but, you know, the masses, I'm not too sure, Par. You might get canceled for that one.
Well, it's weird now. If I did it closer, you know, I would have got a pass. Like, oh, it's just like, you know, it's like memes. But now it's a little weird to do.
Well, the Netflix documentary is coming out in, like, a couple of months.
I'll put it out then. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Netflix showed us the real powers. We can now power scale One Piece using this Netflix documentary here.
There you go.
Fishman can survive 10,000 meters of water pressure. Do you know how much that's what, 9,000
humans are inferior.
Like,
there we go. I like that one.
That. Yeah. It was
so much with this hole, bro. So much with this hole.
Yeah, I mean, here's another thing with you know, oh, I mean, we could talk about it later when the Mother Frame stuff comes back, but, like, the other part of it is, like, you know, people were wondering, like, does it go to the center of the earth? Does it go to the other side of the earth? And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, it doesn't like, as crazy as this is, I feel like that's all, like, world ending kind of, like the world would not, even the One Piece world would not survive being perforated like that, you know? So I feel like right now it like there's some kind of dimensional thing, or, like, magnetic thing or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's some kind of weird anomaly like that. Maybe if they had, like, a compass nearby and they'd be like, oh shit, this is not working, you know?
I think there's just something weird that I just think it's weird in general that we have this hole that should theoretically all the water should be sinking in, but instead we have like water levels rising. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
And,
like
that's so strange.
like the way I was describing it with not sponsored, but like, it's like if you had like a bucket of water and then you place this can in the water would rise, and then the water would like technically be going down not going down the can, but like it'd be stopping at the can. So now if you imagine that, now make the can invisible, and then you have this, right? That's kind of what you would be getting. But then like what is the can then? Like why is there? And then the only thing that kind of like fits that in my mind is like a dimension thing. Like Lucy got taken to a different dimension, which, hey, maybe that's a thing. Maybe the original Enies Lobby is just like with Emu somewhere.
It's in a pocket dimension.
Yeah, and hey, who knows? Because I don't know. Because then it's like it's water. It's
blowing us apart. There's a hole in my brain now.
Yeah, but because then the water being displaced increased by 1 meter, so then it's not a dimension thing, because then the water didn't disappear. It stayed. So like, I can't wait for Oda to just answer this one.
Now
Which he probably won't.
I kind of wish that Polly and the rest of the boys fell down the hole at Enies Lobby. Imagine how crazy that would be. Like if they actually like Polly, Oimo, Kashi, Gomora, like all of them fell down the hole, and then we see them like thousands of chapters later, and they're like, guys, we're safe. There's actually an island down here. Like, would you believe that? Like, that would be kind of nuts.
If they survived the fall, that would be Kaido level.
Oh, you're right. I just assumed they would like fall and then teleport to the bottom, like a checkpoint. But you're right. They would actually just die. Like, forget about that. But Polly's rope though is crazy. Who knows?
Yeah, it is crazy. He held giants with it, and he can pull it out of a pocket dimension, infinite. And it's not a devil fruit, guys. A lot of people forget that for some reason.
Yeah, he doesn't have a devil fruit.
Yeah, and this is a fun thing, because I personally would like this a lot, but I don't see like maybe it's like portals, right? Like, so you fall down and then you just end up in the sky somewhere and you keep falling. You know what I mean? Like,
that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, but it wouldn't work. Like, I would imagine you fall down in his lobby and then you keep falling and you just keep. That would be kind of cursed, but like, then the water would be there, right?
If Kaido really wanted to die, he should just fall off Enies Lobby.
Yeah, I mean,
Kaido could easily raid Enies Lobby and just jump off the cliff, right?
Yeah,
like nothing's stopping him.
He clearly
didn't really want to die.
Yeah,
I really don't think Kaido wanted to die, like the narrator said in the beginning. Like, because the narrator was like, he was looking for a place to die. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of ways he could have, died if he really wanted to.
I think it's more like Kaido did want to, but it's also kind of like Kaido doesn't want to. You know what I mean? Like, it's like he's on the fence. He was on the bridge, like on the the corner.
Yeah, one bad tweet and it would have been game over for him.
Yeah, it's like the last season of You.
I didn't watch the last season of You.
Oh no.
No, I don't mind the spoilers. I'm the spoiler guy. Like I don't really care.
True.
Like I'm watching MasterChef right now, and the first thing me and my wife do is we look up who wins. we look up who wins the entire competition before we watch a show. Like that's
a fun way to watch
spoilers.
it,
though.
Yeah.
Because we start focusing in on the main person. It's like, okay, like how did they survive this? Like how did they, like you start dissecting and looking at things a different way, which is why I do spoilers, right? In a weird way. Like I read the spoilers so that I get the mental image of like what should happen, and then it's like, wait, how does all of that happen in this chapter? I love that.
Yeah,
it's like looking at things backwards.
Sometimes I like doing that because you could see why they directed things the way they did.
Yeah.
Sometimes people watch things and then they're like, this is dumb, and then at the end sometimes they end with the realization that, oh, this is a bad movie because of blah blah blah. And because of the way it's directed, they are not receptive to the ending. But if they were receptive to the ending, then all the things that they thought were dumb would make sense. And so it's like, it's an interesting viewpoint. I think it is interesting.
Acquired taste for sure, though.
Yeah.
Acquired taste. I'm not recommending people to do it unless you really like spoilers. But I've been doing that for horror movies too, and it doesn't work as well. because horror movies kind of suck sometimes. Like we did that for Insidious: The Last Door, and I was like, oh babe, you don't believe it, but this guy gets possessed and then he escapes the demon dimension like we all expected. So it's like, okay.
Wait, is that Insidious 2? Like, is there a second
No,
one?
there's an Insidious that came out this year called Insidious: The Red Door. It's not good.
Oh, the first one was good, if I remember. That one was scary.
First one's always like okay, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse as time goes on. Like it's fun to watch for like a date night, but is it overall a good movie? No.
Yeah.
It's literally just about a red door. But speaking of doors, I think this opens the doorway to the next island of conversation, Kamabaka Queendom. We have Ivankov, reacting to the rising water and the earthquakes. And, I call me a conspiracy theorist, but, where's Dragon? Where's Sabo? They could be here. They could just be showing Ivankov. I am hoping that maybe, just like Whoop Slap, Makino, and Dadan, they read the newspaper and they're like, wait, Luffy needs my help. Like, Garp needs my help. Maybe they're on the move, right? Sabo said if Luffy ever needs help, I'm gonna be there immediately. Sabo said that in Dressrosa. Dragon, we don't know his relationship with his old man. Maybe he sees the newspaper about Garp and he's like, yo, Baltigo, Blackbeard can have it. My dad? Nah, we gotta go there. We gotta save him. We're gonna save the old coot.
Nah,
I think that'd be fan service, but I think it would make sense. Fan service, but it would make sense.
I like what I didn't even register this because yesterday, the reaction, there was so much to like the whole and the York stuff later, but like when you came in and you're talking about the Grand Fleet, I was kind of like I was like not fixated, but that's kind of like the frame that kind of covered anything else, because that made a lot of sense, right? The newspapers out there, the siege is happening, blah blah blah, the Grand Fleet coming through would make a lot of sense, counter another fleet, whereas the Revs, they haven't shown to be able to counter this kind of a force yet so far. Even though they participated in wars, they've been doing it through a lucrative, like under the table kind of like, hey, you guys fight for yourself, we'll just give you a little push real quick, we'll make the tables a little even. You guys don't have to fight CP0, we'll fight or Cypher Pole, we'll fight Cypher Pole, right? So Dragon and Sabo not being shown is good. Now Dragon's not going to Garp. There's no I don't know.
You don't
why.
think so?
There's Dragon reads the newspaper and it's just like, damn.
Yeah, he's just a reaction. He's just a reaction YouTuber.
Like,
you're right.
Like it's
I'm
kind of
not
like
disagreeing.
It's not even. I wouldn't even say it's like that. Like Sengoku's a little different, right? Like I see Sengoku reading the newspaper about Garp and thinking like, damn, my bro needs me. Let me go there, right? Versus like, not that I'm saying Dragon is weak. I think Dragon's really strong, but I feel like there's a certain extent where you just like it's like, damn, what could I do to help him? Like, it's Garp, you know what I mean? Like, Garp is that guy, clearly. And I feel like most people's like Whoop Slap's reaction was like, yeah, Garp, I'm sure he can handle himself.
But he was worried, though. Whoop Slap said that, but he was also like, but don't laugh at this. Like, this baby, I'm gonna slap that baby. But like, how dare he laugh at Garp's situation?
Again, I always bring up the Mike Tyson thing, but like, if I let's say, for example, I was somehow Mike Tyson's homie, and like, I would roll up to fight, help him out of a thing. But if you
Mike
told
Tyson
me, like,
got kidnapped by terrorists, what would you do?
And then it's like we get some of the context too, like he's alive and whatever. I'd be like, yeah, like if he got caught, like I probably can't do any better than him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair. But I mean, but you just said it yourself, though. I mean, we're both Dragon, on the boat. We meme about Dragon. I don't like Dragon. Yeah. I don't like Dragon, but I think he's strong. I think we're both on that level where, one way or another, he's strong. Maybe Dragon fights Blackbeard. I think, or at least like some of the crew, right? And then Vasco Shot, your favorite character, would take him down.
Imagine the crazy jump. Like we left it, and then this happens. We don't see Dragon, and then next time we go to Hachinosu, we see Kuzan's in Dragon's like grip, like by the throat. My dad? He's like, oh my god, that would, like, again, that's fan service. I think the more,
but we're at the final arc. Like
I think
it's time for the fan service to pay off. You know.
So Saint Saturn's not being telegraphed as going towards Egghead, but
Yeah.
I feel like the more probable thing now is what the newspaper says. Luffy kidnapped Vegapunk, and the Marines are laying siege to Egghead, right?
Yeah.
So like Dragon hears Shaka tell him like, I'm dying, Dragon, blah blah blah, and Dragon doesn't get up. Surely the newspaper motivates his ass and is like, my son is kidnapping my, quote unquote friend who called me on his deathbed, and
it's gonna be like that Squidward meme where he's sleeping. Like Shaka says, "Hey, Dragon, I'm dead." He's just sleeping, and he's like, "Wait, Luffy's there?" Like he just wakes up all of a sudden. He starts heading over there ASAP.
Yeah, it's something. I feel like it makes more sense that Dragon and Sabo go towards Egghead.
Yeah.
With that, if they're not here, where do they go? That would make the most sense. And I now I have to recalibrate a lot of my thoughts for the rest of the chapter and the rest of Egghead, given that, because like, we. It sounds crazy because you and I have talked about Dragon and Sabo and the Revs coming to Egghead to the point where when Blackbeard's ship was shown at like what 1079,
1079,
I thought originally when I just saw ships, I was like, the Revs, because we were talking about it so much there, and then I saw I think it was the flag, and I was like, oh man,
we get disappointed by Dragon every other chapter. Wait, what would you say? Obviously this is all hypothetical. What would you say if by the next chapter we see Dragon still standing at Kamabaka Queen? Dragon and Sabo are just there, and they're like, whoa, this water, man, like what's going on? You know how he always does it, where Dragon's always confused by world events? Imagine he sees this and he's like, what is this? Like, that would be wild to me.
Listen, I'm all for,
man,
like Dragon
socks in the mud if that happened. Just
like, not emotionally, but like stunted mentally to the point where he just can't register worlds changing events, and he like, I don't know what that would be called, but like the world could be flooding, like his best friend could be dying, like all these things could be, his co-founder best friend is enslaved and ran away from him.
Ivankov's in prison. He doesn't even know if ancient weapons exist. He doesn't believe in Sabo.
His adopted son is convicted of murder, and he's just like, damn, that's man.
They rescued Kuma, and then Kuma just casually runs away, and he's like, Kuma, where are you going? like Dragon is constantly that guy.
That's his thing, but his shtick is like, those people, they're like savant, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he plays the piano really well, like he's just really fucking strong.
I think that's the one thing. Like, we make fun of Dragon not going places all the time, but we always reel it back. We're like, he's strong, he's a strong character, he's got it in the bag somewhere. Like, we're like an abused housewife. We just only see the good in him. We ignored all the other red flags, and we're like, no, Dragon, he's a man of power. He'll do this one day. Trust.
Yeah. I think it was Vinland. Vinland, he had a theory. And I have my qualms with the theory, but it was romantic for a lot of people, which was that if Dragon is the Wind Logia, which is my issue, because like I don't like the Wind Logia idea, because Caesar exists. He's the gas fruit. It's the gas. Wind is just air moving. Air is just a gas. And Caesar has airless world where he can make wind and take out air. He can do all that. But so Vinland was saying that what if Dragon is the Wind Logia? What if, because Logias are the element, he has been around Luffy his entire life. He's been watching the entire time, all the wind, and like, and he pointed at a panel at the very beginning of chapter 1. It like intros, and it says the wind is blowing from the east, and so I think he was saying that like Dragon technically is eastward of Fushia village, so that wind was Dragon. And I was like,
imagine we get like a different perspective of chapter 1. Dragon's just on the side. Just blowing, like, go Luffy, go.
He was when Luffy first set sail and he soloed the Lord of the Coast,
just
and Dragon
blowing his son.
No, Dragon was like, that was too easy, and he makes the whirlpool that's
oh my gosh.
He's like,
Even better, Dragon doesn't know how whirlpools happen, so he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean that." He starts sucking in air instead.
And then that's why he showed up at Logtown, because he's like, oh, thank God.
The dragon slander doesn't stop.
I was just, and you know, that's a fine theory, right? I think a lot of people were convinced by it. I have my opposing things because I have a different theory, but as far as Dragon goes, yeah, I'm gonna stick on the cope of like he's strong, guys. Like,
yeah, he's strong. Don't worry.
I think Oda might just make it like he's, you know, like Luffy's like just like stupid, like situationally, like, you know, like Jinbei could be telling him about like racism and why he can't do certain things on Fishman Island, and Luffy's just like, no. and then like Nami, like Nojiko was telling Nami's backstory, and Luffy just like walked away. Like, Dragon just like goofy like that, but it's just insanely strong. Maybe that's a thing. And you know,
how does it always come back to this part?
I don't know.
We
know.
always
but, like,
say we're not going to slander Dragon for like 5 hours, and then we end up doing it again.
It's because you brought it up this time. It's because every
you can't blame this on me. You can't blame your hatred of Dragon on me, Par. That's unfair.
Dragon. Okay, hold on. The thing is, it's like every single time this happens, it's because the next chapter opens the door for the possibility for good things to happen, and then we are
constantly disappointed.
No, we're cautious. We're on the balance beam, and then, you know, the next chapter does disappoint us, but it's also like in a weird way where it doesn't like counteract our thoughts about him. But like this is the situation where it's like his dad is dying on one side, and his son is being like raided by the Marines' largest force in history, and so it's like. And Kuma's at marriage. Surely
it's like earlier. It's like earlier with Don Krieg with the alley-oop. We set up Oda set up the alley-oop for Dragon. All Dragon has to do is jump up and just, you know, slam it down.
Choose one. One of them.
You got this, Dragon. I believe. Please, my man, do it. Show off your power.
Like I almost needed Kamabaka Queendom to go down, like the entire place underwater,
so that Dragon could justify
Dragon has to leave this goddamn place. If it's not his best friend, listen, his best friend is a cyborg who just ran away from him. His other best friend called him and said he's dying. His dad is now like on the newspaper is missing in action on Hachinosu, and his son, like, literally these are all of Dragon's connections. I don't think there's any other people Dragon's connected to this closely. And it's like,
it's time, Dragon. It's time.
This is it. Please do something.
It does make, you know, reeling it back though, it does make a kind of sense that Dragon hasn't done anything yet, because we got the gods, you know, the God Knight thing, right? It's like, okay, Dragon's fighting an entirely different battle. Maybe he just really doesn't care about anything. He only cares about the fight at the Holy Land. Maybe that's it, but at the same time, it's like, dang, like, it still doesn't look good.
If that's it, then go fight the Holy Knights right now. Like, this is the worst time to do that, but like, maybe this is the best time in your mind because you're just socially inept. Like, I don't understand.
Come on, Dragon, please.
Like, this is headcanon, but like, obviously I think we're both on the boat of like Egghead diffusing somehow. Like, it's not like there's the precipice of a fight, but something happens. One way or the other, and Dragon is the king of that, apparently. Like Baltigo, he avoided the fight. Logtown, he diffused the entire fight by blowing everyone over. So maybe that's what happens here. Dragon shows up at the last minute and just, hey, everyone chill out, whoosh, and
like,
just like,
do you guys really want to fight the Revs? And then we see like that egg looking guy show up, and he's like, oh it's Senor Tamago. Wait, what's that egg guy's name? It's not Ahiru.
Oh no, it's not Ahiru.
We got like those 4 revolutionary commanders.
Who cares?
Yeah,
I don't care about
they're gonna
them.
be sick. Like Saint Saturn's gonna start sweating. He's like, I'll fight everybody except for that cow man and that egg sheep man.
Maybe the cow in the cover story was foreshadow for who are the that name.
Oh yeah, wasn't it Ushimaru or something?
Stop it! Stop it!
Yeah, no, it was cool.
Ahiru's the only one that matters, but it's like, this is what I'm picturing, right? Dragon and Sabo to have like a pain. Is it
Ushiano, Gambo?
Don't interrupt me with the cow. Don't! Oh, how dare you interrupt me with the cow? I'm saying,
I got you. Don't worry, Bar. Alley-oop. Alley-oop.
I think it's either Bleach or Naruto. I think maybe they both have the thing where like the person shows up in their entry, like they're just floating in the sky above everyone, and it's like arms across and they're looking down. I need Dragon and Sabo to be like floating above Egghead, looking down on him, and be like, huh, that's crazy. Cool. Yeah, and then Dragon does the thing where he goes, whoosh, and then Sabo is empowered by the wind, and then so they create a fire tornado, and then that's how you get the Oklahoma shout out.
This feels like another one of those things. Like every time we get together, it feels like we're just playing with action figures, just talking about what our favorite characters are doing. Whoa, and then we're gonna have Luffy jump in, and he's gonna go Sun God Nika mode. It's gonna be crazy. Watch, boys. We're just little kids at a convention at this point. But it's
always about Dragon.
It's always about Dragon, man. It gets us riled up. So past that, we see we go back to Fuchsia Village. Boom, the water's rising, and then we lose the dock.
Which makes no sense.
We lose the dock where Shanks gave Luffy the straw hat. Rest in peace. We can never recreate that scene. And then we go back to Egghead Island. You know, everybody's favorite place. We love this arc. This arc has been phenomenal. Every week is just a different conversation.
The music video on top of it, Pete.
Oh yeah, guys! If you haven't seen the music video done by Mori, it's pretty cool. We can't get the Vegapunk thing out of our heads at this point. It's just there.
Yeah.
But we got sea beasts attacking marine ships, not really doing too much damage because Kizaru is here, obviously, and we got 9 vice admirals, and we see their force: 9 vice admirals, Kizaru, Saint Saturn, 30,000 troops, absolutely insane. I am expecting the vice admirals to show out a little bit. I don't think any one of these boys are gonna go down. I think they're all gonna make it out of this situation a-okay, because I agree with what you said. I think this situation somehow, some way, will be diffused. I don't think this is a place where we go all out, we defeat Kizaru, we defeat Saturn, the vice admirals. I think this is a place where we maybe clash with everybody here, and then we skedaddle. Because Luffy, by the end of the chapter, you know, jumping ahead just 2 seconds, Luffy even says it himself. He says, oh, we're just going to use her as a shield, and we're going to make our escape. Like, it doesn't look like the Straw Hats even want to fight necessarily. Like, they just want to get out of here. Because if Luffy were to go against any of the Vice Admirals, I agree, Luffy would win, right? Like, Sun God Nika versus these guys, come on. So with that being the case, I think we are in a situation where we will somehow diffuse this or skedaddle-daddle out of here. What do you think? Well, what do you think about the Vice Admirals? Do you like these guys? I love them.
I like how you segued it and you just had to refocus me onto the Vice Admirals. So I agree with you for a different reason, right? The diffusing thing. I think the Vice Admirals, what Oda did, right? Again, it's an interesting thing. He could do what he wants, but ultimately, like, we got a few like new Vice Admirals, despite already having like a cast of Vice Admirals.
We have like over 20 of them.
Yeah, so he could have used them, and I don't know why he would be protective of them, but like in a ways, it could be a situation where you bring these Vice Admirals into the extra ones that were new, end up becoming, not like thrown to the wayside, but they're the ones who take the damage, maybe. And so like then you have the core ones, which would be, I don't know, like Doberman and Doll. Doberman is a recurring one. Doll's a recurring one. And then if I were to put my hand on it, it would be the Kadar guy at the bottom. But like, hey, who knows? You know, your glow up theory exists, but he didn't have the best showing last time. He got rocked by Fisher Tiger. And Fisher Tiger, hey, he's strong, but he's not necessarily the most equipped character.
If you guys don't know, out of all of this, like Par said, Doll, Doberman, we know those guys. But in the bottom middle, Kadar is actually his name, and we've seen him before in Fisher Tiger's flashback. He's the guy who clashed with Fisher Tiger and almost captured him.
Oh yeah, that's.
But he lost. How are you? But he lost the fight because the fishermen were playing dirty. Come on.
No, he wasn't even meant to. He was sent on reconnaissance. He was sent to find out what's happening, and then he got rocked on his own
because
ship
his mission
on
was
land.
Reconnaissance.
On land, on his ship, Fisher Tiger looked at him, slammed his face into his office. Let me tell you,
Kadar was only supposed to, find out where Fisher Tiger was. He wasn't supposed to fight. He's like Yamakaji and Blackbeard.
I'm pretty sure he's the one who was sent the attack first, and Fisher Tiger retaliated.
No, that wasn't an attack. That was provocation.
Oh, they were just fishing. They were just fishing.
They were just fishing. Come on, Par.
He did. So Sai's copium on the live stream was he didn't know. Kadar didn't know what fishmen were.
He was confused. Come on, like if the first time you see a fishman, I don't think you could properly fight. You'd be like aghast at like the situation, right?
And then the cope aside, we did stumble on the fact that like there are no fishmen in the Marines, so maybe he was just coddled the entire time he was in the Marines.
Yeah, Kadar had no idea what was going on. Either way, Kadar had a massive glow up.
Hey, he did. He looks like
he's even a vice admiral now.
He has the foxy glasses. He looks like the vampire from that one game a little bit. I feel like
Castlevania.
No, Redfield, like the One Piece movie game.
Oh,
no,
you're talking about Red.
Yeah,
One Piece
like
Red
that.
the vampire. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen pictures of him. It kind of looks like that. So maybe that's the glow up. Maybe he got bit by a vampire. He got his vampire boost.
Maybe he defeats Stussy. It's latent in the stars, I believe.
So here's a question, right? I'm gonna go back and talk about this, which is the diffusing thing. It's like again, the way the narrator box transitioned, it went from like this entire
I can't believe you're gonna bring this up again, Par. We're skipping past this conversation. I don't want to hear this. Par's gonna slander the vice admirals. Okay, so Borsellino is eating ramen.
No,
and this guy's slurping up them noodles. He's slurping up the nudes right now. We see Borsellino. He's talking to Kizaru. You got me in a twist. He's talking to Sentomar. And then we see a little.
Here's the thing, Sai.
We see a little flashback panel. Kizaru shooting up little stars in the sky.
I'll meet you in the middle. I won't even. If you guys want to know why, Sai has to accept what I said.
I'm not gonna accept what Par said.
You have to. This is why you're not letting me say. But here's the thing. Do you think, right? We've talked so about like where these vice admirals stand, right? And you're kind of like protective over them, being like
they're like my kids.
We rarely have the Straw Hats go against vice admirals and have like a full-on clash, which is fair historically. That is kind of the case. I guess Smoker would be the exception, but Smoker's an exception for a lot of things. And okay, here's we talked about this, and in my chat, and you kind of agreed that Garp, the one single vice admiral Garp solos all of them, and that's not slander to them. It's Garp, right? Fair. Do you think one of these guys can take on a single Mark III pacifista?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. So then how about 50? Do you think the 9 vice admirals can take on 50?
I think that is the furthest I can push the envelope without getting into Looney Tunes power scaling, saying that they can defeat Luffy. If my 9 vice admirals can do anything, like you know how like Luffy beat Kaido, right? That was like a humongous feat. I'm gonna say these 9 vice admirals can take on all the Mark III pacifistas.
So again,
that is their Onigashima.
We have the 9 vice admirals here. We on the other side of the chessboard, we have the 50 pacifistas. We've been wondering like what these things are insane. At Marineford, they were a unit, So we're sending random Marine people 30,000 short. I think the pacifistas can like healthily stave off most of the fodder. So you'd need a force to stop them. Yeah, Kizaru could take it, but like also wouldn't it make sense to have something countering that? And then I guess that's where these vice admirals come in, right?
My boys.
And I'm glad I asked you that question first because someone commented on the stream after we talked. And they said some crazy shit.
What did they say?
They said each vice admiral can clear Chopper, Usopp, Frankie, Sanji.
I agree with Usopp. I feel like Usopp's the easy one. Yeah, Usopp for sure. I even think Chopper would be like a high diff fight.
Monster Point Chopper was boxing with Queen a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, Queen took like negative damage though. Queen was literally laughing at Chopper during the anime and manga.
But like, can these guys box with that? So that's where I was like reeling it back to, right? Like, for some reason, this person was convinced that Sanji would lose to a single vice admiral here.
I don't think so.
That's just crazy. And I'm like, wait, do you think a single vice admiral here can fight Queen? Like, that's
Nah.
crazy. No way.
Actually,
Doll,
if you put 9v1 like the Scabbards, I feel like they could take on Queen for sure. But here's the thing, with these Vice Admirals, I do think that they could healthily take on Usopp. I feel like that's not really like a question. Usopp lost to like no diff to a Seraphim, but then again that was like, you know, the stone fruit, so that's a little bit different. But yeah,
Frankie's a weird
Frankie's
one, right?
a hard one. Like, these guys can't beat Frankie.
Yeah, like Frankie,
I'm not on board with that one.
This was my response because I was just like, there's no point in even responding to the Sanji. Like, Usopp.
Yeah, don't respond to the Sanji. Don't give that one the time of day.
Yeah,
like the Sanji one's just kind of nuts. Yeah, I love these guys.
And the Frankie one, I was like, I can see, but like also you have to realize like Frankie has always been him. Like every single time he's fought, like he wins and he just looks cool. Like Oda always does that.
Frankie's the manliest guy in the room.
He's just that dude. I don't like, sometimes he just like, he ran over Big Mom with a motorcycle. It's like, I didn't think that would happen. And then he beat Sasaki and it was just like easy. It was kind of easy. Like the only part that was a problem was that the floor was breaking and shit. But like other than that, it was just like the man went helicopter triceratops mode and Frankie was like, that's weird, and then just beat his ass. Yeah. So it's like, I don't like Frankie's kind of just like strong, and I feel like a Vice Admiral can't healthily take him. Maybe it's an issue, sure. Maybe they're like, yeah, but like,
we have some Vice Admirals that look super manly, so I would enjoy like a Frankie versus Vice Admiral fight, just because like, yeah, you can tell we have some dudes here that are definitely on steroids. Like some of these guys look cool.
Yeah, I would have loved T-Bone versus Frankie. T-Bone and Frankie would have been bros.
Nah, I
you don't think so?
They'd be bros, but I would like a Zoro versus T-Bone rematch. Just seeing like T-Bone getting what, they had a little thing, and then Zoro respected T-Bone. Zoro put the respect on T-Bone's name.
Okay, so he's a little bit better than Kuina, but like
no, but hey, don't neglect the glow from a loss. The glow people get from a loss is massive.
Yeah,
T-Bone probably is a monster now.
T-Bone's probably the most decorated Vice Admiral, if we're being honest, because the man was like standing in the middle of the ocean, taking down sea kings and ships. I'm like,
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, none of these other Vice Admirals have that kind of a like epic. He was what, like he sliced ships. He was the
ship cutter. Yeah.
Yeah, so like after Mihawk, he was the first person afterwards to do that. So it's like
he had his own like sword style too, where he cut like perfect right angles.
Oh, something like that. Oh, like Nanami a little bit.
So his whole thing was he was like, I hate crooked people, so I only hit people in like, you know, perfect 90-degree angles. So like something like that. He had like a whole like fighting style that was unique to him, which I thought was super cool. And he's the only character after Mihawk as well, or Mihawk and Zoro, that actually can send flying slashes.
And hey, like if T-Bone were here, maybe I'd be singing a different tune. But you have to admit,
if T-Bone was here, you'd be sweating for the strats.
Hey, the pacifistas and everyone should be running. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree. T-Bone's crazy, man.
But like with this cast of Vice Admirals, it's like, I was more afraid of the 20 great ships. I was more afraid of the 30,000 Marines. And then it was kind of a downturn when the 9 Vice Admirals.
I don't feel the same way.
But then,
no way.
to cope, Oda, in their introduction, because we don't need their name boxes because they don't matter. In their introduction, he's just like, oh, and don't worry, it's not just them. It's also Admiral Kizaru, which we knew. It was just like a reminder that like these guys are not that great. So like we needed in their faces, literally in their faces, the reminder that there's more
until we get to the next chapter. And you know how like we time skipped and like Luffy and then beat the Seraphim? Imagine we time skip and then the Vice Admirals are standing on top of the strats, all posed up, and then Luffy's like, guys, save me, dragon. Vice Admiral Doberman's gonna kill me.
No, not the Doberman feet. They're all posed up on
man. That'd be so good.
Outside of like, because if these guys are strong, right, it's like sure we have the 9 Straw Hats and Luffy, use 9 Vice Admirals and Kizaru, but the thing is we also have Lucci, Kaku, Stussy, and right now their situation is kind of precarious, right, because it's like they're failures. So like are they in the target of Saturn and Kizaru now, or
They
like
have no idea what's going on, which we'll get to too, because I mean, when Doberman gives Saint Saturn the report, they're kind of just assuming that Lucci lost.
yeah,
Like they didn't say capture. Like yeah, like the mission, it didn't really work out. Like they don't know what happened to Lucci. For all these guys know, they're expecting to show up to the Labo phase, and they're expecting like Lucci, Kaku, and Stussy on the ground somewhere, right?
yeah,
Like just
yeah.
laying down unconscious. But that's not really what's going on.
It would have been, yeah. Well, I'll save this for once we catch up to that part. But it is interesting because they are a variable, because like they're strong, right? So it's like maybe they fight these vice admirals, and then that's kind of interesting, right? Like,
yeah, it's like watching my two favorite characters fight. Like, who do I want to win, Lucci and Kaku or the 9 vice admirals? I don't know.
Not them matching Lucci, the Lucci boy himself,
the 9 Nightbringers.
That's crazy.
So we see Borsalino, and he's talking to good old Sentomaru, and he says something that a lot of people are either dissing or praising. So Kizaru says that he's just a cog in the machine. He is a slave to the corporation, whatever translation you want to go with. And people are saying, okay, so since Kizaru is just doing his job, like, would this neg him on the Conqueror's mindset? Which, I think it could go either way still. But as far as him saying he's just a cog in the machine, from what I understand, you think that he's only saying this because maybe he's under duress because his boss, Saint Saturn, is nearby.
Yeah, like, duress might not even be the right word, right? Like, it's just like it's like he doesn't want, like,
he doesn't want to look bad.
Yeah, he doesn't want to stir the pot when it doesn't need to be stirred. You know what I mean? Like, the Admirals, at the end of the day, all of them have been shown to be cerebral enough to, like, besides Aramaki to a certain extent, but, like, to make, like, executive decisions. And, like, this could be one of those moments where I personally, and it's ironic because when you asked me during the break, like, the Conquerors and Admirals, and I said, I think the OG Admirals should all have Conquerors. Kizaru would be the one that I'm interested about because he felt like he could go the way of being a cog in the machine. And though right now it's like verbatim, I am gonna backtrack on like that sentiment, in the sense of like the way he's saying it here is not what I imagined, because here it's kind of like it's not a meaningful admission to a certain extent, right? Like him saying that to Sentomaru and what he's doing, he hasn't done any actions, he's just saying words, right? It's different if Kizaru goes like, Kizaru like loves Sentomaru, which fine, right? Like he's going after Vegapunk, right? And from what we know between him and Vegapunk, which this is a weird thing from Sentomaru's end. Sentomaru's like, man, he used your powers for his research. I'm like, well, so why am I supposed to like this guy then? You know what I mean? Like, Sentomaru's acting as if that's a reason to care about someone, right? Whereas like if let's say he cares about Sentomaru, right? And then Saturn orders Sentomaru to die, right? And that tears Kizaru, like we find out that Kizaru actually cares about Sentomaru, but once Saturn gives the order, he throws away his emotions and just kills him, right? That's different. That to me is an action that demonstrates that he is 100% a corporate slave. He is not going to disagree with them at all, even if it goes against his own personal values. Him saying it right here, one, again, like maybe they show Vegapunk and Kizaru best bros, cool. Even then, it's like the level that Vegapunk went to, is something that, given his position, his probably stance on the Void Century and Poneglyph research and all that stuff, like that is like an ultimate betrayal kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, Vegapunk and Dragon are homies because they're on the same side, but if you found out your homie has been doing like quote unquote terroristic activities, then you might be on the side of like, yeah, he needs to go, right? Like, that's a problem. I can't stand by that. So there is when he says I'm a cog in the machine here, it doesn't mean as much as people I think are putting weight on it again, we have to wait for the Viz translations, especially because right afterwards
Watch
he
the
kind
Viz
of
say
like
something like, "I just want to eat sushi."
that'd be wild. But like right afterwards, he kind of brings it back to like a neutral thing. He's like, anyways, this fight isn't exactly in our best interest. Everything we break is a net loss for us. So it's like then you get again, he's like actually like rational, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
just a cog in the machine, but like from an executive standpoint, this is kind of like a we have to like handle this like smartly. Vegapunk is the reason. That's all we need. That's all we want. Like if he goes, then we're done. There's no issue, right? So it's like as far as Kizaru's siege here, he seems like he has his head on his shoulders a little bit, but we
And
have to see with actions wise what happens.
another thing that's interesting about Kizaru too is that maybe this is just like his entire character, because even going back to his justice, it's unclear justice. So maybe that's, maybe this is what brings him joy. He's like, yeah, I'm just doing my job, like maybe he just really likes that.
Yeah. I think the Conqueror's debate happens when decision making is like he completely offsets his decision making.
Yeah.
But we've seen plenty of times where he's made decisions to run into, like when Sabaody was being sieged, he's like, put me in, coach. And then
Yep.
in this situation, I'm guessing he's like, put me in, coach. You know what I mean? Like that's a decision I'm imagining. But when it comes to like, don't fight, and if it's a matter of him not wanting to and him going against his own thing, then I think Conqueror's hockey would probably be in the conversation.
Do you think that Kizaru would actually kill Vegapunk and Sentomaru? Like, okay, closed room, nobody else, like, prying eyes are gone. Saturn would never know. Do you think Kizaru would actually kill Sentomaru or Vegapunk, or do you think he would let them go? Like a mercy?
Sentomaru, no. Vegapunk, I'm still, because like we don't know the relationship between Kizaru.
Yeah,
and
we barely got anything. All we saw was like what, Borsalino shooting up a little light beam.
Yeah, and then on top
cool.
of that, it's like from what we know, Sentomaru has a relationship with Vegapunk, and Kizaru has a relationship with Sentomaru. Even the relationship between Sentomaru and Kizaru, we don't know. But if this chapter says anything, I think they are actually like close. To have like a conversation, like back and forth conversation like this at all, you know what I mean, is interesting. But then, as far as Kizaru, Vegapunk, like I don't know, like if he's convicted of like the worst crime that his institution stands for or fights against, then I could see Kizaru just like, yeah, bro, it's time to go. But there is a world where Kizaru could, maybe he like has like a paw fruit ability where he's just like, where do you want to go on vacation? And he's like transports them with his light ability. I don't know, some kind of sick thing like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. I would like if Kizaru did let them go, but like you said, like, will he? I don't know, man. I don't know. He's a cog in the machine. If he actually believes in that, then friendship be damned. Maybe he will kill them.
Yeah, Sentomaru is, I think, the reason. I think it might be that Sentomaru is how we start understanding Kizaru more. So, like, Sentomaru will be put in a predicament, and Kizaru's decisions around Sentomaru is probably going to be the most telling thing here.
Yeah.
As far as how we're getting introduced to the situation.
I mean, another thing with this, too, is that, like how Garp was fighting Aokiji, and we saw, like, Kuzan cry a little, or we assuming here he cried, or at least he had some heartache about it. Like, yeah. I wish we got that from Borsalino too here. Like, maybe, like, he beats Sentomaru. Maybe he does beat Vegapunk. And then maybe deep down he's like, oh, like, my light beams can't hide these tears, though.
Yeah, like, his sunglasses start radiating, like, and then that's his tears.
Yeah, or, like, people try to turn around and look at Kizaru for, like, words of advice or anything. And then Kizaru's just blinding light. Like, whoa, we can't see him. And he's just, like, crying in the meanwhile.
Yeah, you just see drips on the ground.
Yeah, and he's like, that's my light. Ignore that.
Yeah, sorry, I peed. Like,
sorry,
he's just,
guys.
like, makes it an excuse. I leaked.
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
But he says something interesting. He says, hey, like, we'd rather you guys surrender because, if we destroy Egghead, if we destroy the Mark III Pacifistas, that's a net loss for us. Because we have to use those guys eventually. Like, we need them. So I feel like this is another reason why at least me and you think that this whole situation is going to be diffused some way just because the Navy doesn't even really want to fight these guys. Like, if they destroy like, I'm sure Kizaru could destroy a Seraphim. Like, I feel like that's, without question. And even the pacifistas, but if he does do that, he's essentially breaking his office computer. Like, why would he do this? Like, it's like breaking his office elevator, breaking his office printing machine. Like, no, like, he wants to make sure everything is still nice and tidy for tomorrow. Yeah. So that's another reason why I think that, like, maybe they're not going to go all out. Maybe this isn't really the time for that. But, and then we see Saint Saturn. Yeah, what's up?
Well, like, so the point being is the diffusion thing, you're right, like, that this is another angle for it. But
yeah,
when you sit back, every single party involved doesn't want to fight. At the end of the day, the Straw Hats want to protect Vegapunk. The Navy wants to fight Vegapunk or kill Vegapunk. Vegapunk wants to leave the island, and the Gorosei / world government don't want to destroy the island. And then you have the various actors who can come in, which would be Blackbeard, which would be Dragon, which would be the Grand Fleet, the Revs, whatever, right? And then that the Grand Fleet showing up is when things get a little hairy, right? Because they want to fight on behalf of Luffy. So it's like, that's when if things come to that point, then that's like bad for the Marines, and they'd want to end things really quickly, right? The more people that get involved, the more counterintuitive it is to everybody involved, of the core cast of Vegapunk, of the world government. And so that's where the power comes in to those third parties, where Dragon or Blackbeard or the Grand Fleet, all of them come in. And it's like, do you really want to fight here? And then it's like that Shanks moment. But in the Shanks moment, it's like, they just didn't want to fight Shanks because Shanks could mess everybody up, right, at that point in the war. In this situation, it's like, they don't want to fight, period, regardless of who is showing up, because everything is a liability on all sides. Like, Vegapunk doesn't want his place to get destroyed, and then neither does the world government. So, like, there is a mutual ground here where it's like, we don't necessarily want to fight.
Not even Luffy wants to fight. Like, by the end of the chapter, like, usually in every arc, Luffy's like, I'm gonna kick Kaido's ass. I'm gonna kick Doflamingo's butt. Yeah. Caesar, I don't like that guy. I'm gonna take him down. This time, Luffy's like, hey, we're gonna use York to escape, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a very different mindset whenever it comes to the Marines. Like, never once has Luffy actually set out to defeat a Marine, minus, like, Axe Hand Morgan, for example.
Yeah.
It's usually just like, let's get out of here.
Even in this situation, like, I imagine the Gorosei shows up and everyone's like, oh my god, the five elder, the one of them is here. And Luffy's like, who? Like,
yeah, like, who's this guy? All right, let's like, peace out, boys.
Yeah, exactly. Home. Like, for Luffy, it's kind of like, he doesn't even have beef with Kizaru to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's the least, like, antagonizing admiral to him to a certain extent. Like, Kuzan technically would be that, but now with the Garp situation, it's a little bit different. But,
like, there's bad blood there. Like I'm sure Luffy, Zoro, and like, they're not big fans of Kizaru, but I don't think they would go out of their way to, like, fight him. Like, Akainu maybe, because, like, the whole Ace situation, but I even feel like Luffy blames Blackbeard more for that than anybody else.
I feel like
it's a hard one. Like, Luffy's not a vengeful person.
It's that too. It's been a little bit, but then it's also kind of like it. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong here, but like, I feel like there's not, aside from like Blackbeard, right, like you said, it's like none of the admirals just land on an island and Luffy looks at them and it's like on site. You know what I mean? That doesn't just feel like, even Akainu shows up. It's not like Luffy's just like runs at him with no question. You know what I mean? Like, Kizaru shows up and he's kind of like, well, that's an admiral. You know what I mean? Like, when Aramaki showed up, it's like, that's an admiral, but he doesn't know him, right? But he's also confident now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he wanted to fight Fujitora at Dressrosa. And then they pulled him away and they said, nope. Rather than fight an admiral, let's just get out of here.
That one is a little charged, right? Because it's like there was like rapport there. Like, the Fujitora fought them, and then also like the situation that they were at, like, Luffy kind of needed to protect people. Like, Fujitora's kind of like walking up on Luffy. I think, from memory, I could be wrong, it was like Luffy's crew was here. The Grand Fleet was there, and Luffy was like coming from a different end, and Fujitora walked up on them, flexed his thing, Zoro on to fight, and then Luffy ran in and staved off them so that they could run away. And then they caught Luffy and said no more fighting, and he's like, no, let me add a blah 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 blah. But it's also another thing because Luffy looked at Fujitora and was like, you're not a bad person, but the Fujitora wanted to fight Luffy, right? But in this situation, Kizaru doesn't necessarily want, like, yeah, like I think that's a different thing when the Gores, like with Saint Saturn here, maybe like we need to kill Nika.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, like nobody so far has said let's defeat Luffy. It's more like, hey, let's just kill Vegapunk.
Which is weird, right? Because
that's another thing too. Yeah, you're right.
On Onigashima, it was assassinate Luffy, like have Kaido kill Luffy, right? Like you can't kill him, so have Kaido do it, right? And now you're going personally, and you have an admiral, and you're not mentioning, and you know Luffy's there, unless they don't know, which is they know. Yeah, they know. Like I don't know how they wouldn't know at this point, but I mean they
read the newspaper, right? Like I love what Saint Saturn says when he reads the newspaper. He says, "Wow, this is a great article."
Yeah, like if for some reason
has a fan.
He looks at the Straw Hat Pirate Storm Egghead to take Vegapunk hostage, and then he's just like,
the Straw Hats are here?
The Luffy's here?
Yeah, he's like, I didn't know this.
We should really take him out. Like we're going to, and we for some reason aren't now. Like that's, because again, they have rarely put hits on people in the series. Moria, Robin, Luffy. Robin, we don't even know if it's a hit. Moria and Luffy, it was literally like kill them. In this, and now they're going there and they know he's there, and it's Vegapunk. They don't even they haven't mentioned him yet. So I'm like, huh? Wait.
What's going on?
So if that's not in their prerogative, then I don't see why Kizaru would be fixated on fighting Luffy, right? It's not like Kizaru has personal.
He'd probably only fight Luffy if Luffy doesn't want to give up Vegapunk, which obviously Luffy won't. That's why I say that. I think if I were to guess what was going to happen, I think it would be like they come here, and then all of a sudden, they're like, hey, like, Luffy, do you want to let go of Vegapunk? No. Okay. They start clashing for a little bit. Luffy flexes, Kizaru flexes, and then it gets diffused somehow.
Yeah.
I think we both are in that agreement, which is kind of cool. Like, we're fighting for the same team here. Look at that.
Hey, whoa, we've
You don't like the Vice Admirals. Don't even. How dare you? Okay, so Glizzy Gobbler Garcia's over here, and he's sucking a fat sausage, and he's fanboying over the news reports.
That was such a weird dialogue box. Like, he was just like, this, I love that. He was like an old man, like, you know what I mean? Like reading some crazy.
It's almost endearing. Good article. It's like my grandpa. My grandpa's dead, but I mean, it's like my grandpa. It's kind of cool.
I don't know why the way this is translated. Maybe I looked at a lot of comparisons in this chapter with the OP scans, but this one I didn't. But it kind of felt like it was kind of like they don't write articles like the way they used to back in my day.
Oh like, I was like, wait. But do you like this article though? No, this article really hit the spot.
This is a classic. Like I was like, wait.
He said this is a news-wide hit. Like, Big News Morgan is doing good for
this. Is gonna get a lot of views. This is gonna pay the investors back. Like some kind of old head. Like
I like to imagine Saint Saturn's really happy that he's here. He's like, oh, I get to witness this firsthand. Like he looks down at the newspaper, he looks up, he's like, whoa, Vegapunk. Like it's kind of funny.
Honey, you'll never believe it. I made mainstream media. Like he's like on national TV.
I like this. So skipping ahead a little bit again, I like what Oda's doing here. Because this might be one of the few chapters where, ever since we're in this final saga, the Gorosei, they're getting more of a focus. And I feel like Oda's really distinguishing each of them now, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Saint Saturn especially, but even in this chapter, like, all of the Gorosei, they're no longer put together, minus, the big shots. Like, but they're all separate now. Like, you're starting to get a feel of what their personalities are like and who they are as characters. And I really enjoy that, because beforehand, it's like, oh yeah, those 5 elders. But soon, we're going to start changing that tune. We're going to be like, oh, no, you mean Saturn. You mean Nansujuro. You mean Jupiter. Like, we're starting to, like, spread them out. Like 5 guys, burgers, and fries. They all have their own specialty. Each guy brings a different spice.
It's interesting because 1086, I think, was when they were responding to Emu's thing. Yeah. And some interpretations are like they were finishing each other's sentences. They were kind of like hive-minded. They were uniminded to a certain extent. But they also had a different focus in each thing, right? Yeah. And we're not Japanese, so like as far as picking up on different mannerisms of speech or dialects. Like we're not experts.
That's not our forte.
Yeah, but if that's something that comes up, I would love that. And I agree with you. It's like, this is like Oda's moment to really differentiate them. And I would love it for a moment where you could stop calling them the Gorosei and start Saturn, Venus, whatever their planet name is, right? Like I love that. And I hope we get that. I do hope we get that. And I think we are going that direction though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so we get Saint Saturn here, you know, he's talking to Doberman and he learns about the researchers that just escaped, right? And he's like, yo, kill them. Sink them immediately, right?
Right.
Because I would like to imagine that if they do escape, the researchers get out of here, imagine he gets punished. Imagine he goes back to Emu, he's like, yeah, we got Vegapunk, you know, we got Centaur, we got Egghead Island, but the researchers escaped. Emu, like, what would he do? Or he or she do? Like, would they be like, oh, Saint Saturn, it's time for your daily beatings, right? Like, come on, old man.
Yeah, that's a thing, right?
It's interesting, like, yeah.
What happens when they make a mistake? Because, I mean, let's think about it, right? Sabo escaped, Wapol escaped. That's a little problematic.
Whoa. Did they escape, or did we let them escape?
Hey, I have something that explains that they let them escape, but is that a mistake? Would letting the researchers go, like, because yeah, the researchers, they may know things, maybe, but like at the end of the day, the issue isn't even knowing things to a certain extent. It's Vegapunk. Like Vegapunk is researching, and it's what did York was like, if I cared about this stuff, wouldn't I be blabbing about it or something like that, right? Talking about it. Like, that's their worry. And at the end of the day, if all these random people knew about it, wouldn't it be more widespread? Are they really worried about these things? There's a world where it's literally the importance. I mean, we run into the same issue as O'Hara, right? Like, and what he's saying, like, they can't escape. But if he does let them escape, is it considered a mistake? I don't know. If he gets Vegapunk, does it get smoothed over? It's hard to say, right? Because at the other side of it is another third party factor here is Morgan's. Can people like give him the information? He verifies it. How does he verify it? Oh, this random robot bunny person from Egghead.
But you gotta imagine, like, since Morgan's has been doing the news for a long time, people probably trust them. Like, it's not like nowadays where we look at the news and we're like, okay, but like, let's check a different source. In the One Piece world, all they have is Morgan's. Like, he's their guy. True. Like, if Morgan's dropped a newspaper saying like some ridiculous headline that isn't even factual, I guarantee you people will believe it. They'll be like, oh, like, this happened? Okay. This is the Void Century? All right. Morgan said it.
And that, if that's the case, then Morgan's is in
powerful,
crossfires. Man. Yeah. Like, if he shows up, like, I feel like instead of the evacuees, it's Morgan's. Like, you kill Morgan's.
Yeah, get rid of Morgan's. He's too much.
Like, yeah, in terms of importance for the the Gorosei, it's Vegapunk, Morgan's, Luffy a little bit. Like, because Morgan's is out here spitting, like, but then again, this is the good side, right? Morgan's put out that title, so he got Saint Saturn's like,
Yeah, Saint Saturn's happy about this. I would like to imagine, you know how we're saying, like, will Kizaru, like, you know, feel remorse for killing Vegapunk? Imagine Saint Saturn starts crying because he has to kill Morgans one day. He was like, oh, my hero. Like, I'm so sorry.
You were my favorite bird.
You're my favorite newspaper person. Now we have to get rid of you. Emu, please. He starts begging on Morgan's behalf.
Yeah,
like, please, anybody but Morgan's.
That'd be wild. Do you feel like Morgan's is coming here? I feel like we haven't talked about that too much.
Morgan's coming here. I feel like he could for the scoop, but I don't really think... I think Morgan himself knows that he's not a fighter. Yeah, he boxed a CP-09 agent, whatever, but like... If Morgans were to come here, would we look at Morgans and say, whoa, Saint Saturn has an opponent? Nah, like... He doesn't really strike me as like that kind of force. At least not yet. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's like an awakened albatross and he goes freaking crazy. But as of right now, I think he's just like chilling. He has Vivi too. Like, bringing Vivi here would be a mistake.
But
that would
Vivi
be a massive mistake.
But that's Vivi's fault though. Vivi is the type to be like, take me there right now. I'm gonna set things right. It's like, V, what are you gonna do? You didn't do anything to Alabasta either. And like, without Luffy, your place would have been exploded. And without
then
Pell, it would
Wapol,
have been
like imagine Wapol. Like Wapol would be like, yo, like, I don't want to go here.
Oh, Wapol would be kind of cracked here. He'd
be cracked, but Wapol would not want to be here though. He would try to avoid this place like the plague.
Wapol doesn't want to be anywhere now. Wapol's terrified for breathing.
The minute Big News Morgan says, "Hey Wapol, let's go to Egghead Island," Wapol's like, "No, like we're not going there." Like he would try to commandor the ship, take over it. Like, come on, no way.
Oh God, Wapol
would be fighting for his life.
Fun, interesting variable that Oda brought in. The Morgans thing. I've been thinking about it. Right, because a lot of people already thought he would be coming. But I posted a Man Marked by Flames video earlier this week. I mentioned it earlier, but a lot of people were saying, and I didn't hear about this before. I've heard about the overall thing, but then they added on that Morgans has always been in his bird form. So we don't know what his human form is. And
he could be incognito. Like, maybe he's Doberman.
Well, they were saying, what if he's the Man Marked by Flames and we just didn't know? And his human form, and so and I was thinking, like, what if he shows up on Egghead and like everyone else was looking for the Man Marked by Flames, but the Man Marked by Flames comes to Luffy and he shows up in his human form, and it's just like, I don't know, like a cracked, like it's like king level character design. He's like the most beautiful character.
I might do that. Next short you see out of me is just the Man Marked by Flames is Morgans.
Yeah, I wasn't, when I saw that, like that one, I was kind of like, hey, Morgans is kind of cool.
Morgans is a cool character. I wouldn't hate it. We've only seen his balloon. Maybe he does have a black ship.
Hey,
do albatrosses have some correlation with whirlpools? Because if they do, that's cracked. I don't think they do though. They just drop off babies.
That's a stork.
Stork, albatross, same thing.
No, it's not.
Same thing, Bar. Come on. Stork, like all birds are the same. They're all just machines.
His ship is a teapot. I don't think it's black, but it's a teapot. Teapot, kettle, black.
Ooh. So, one character that is missing here, which, not Morgan's. It's actually Blackbeard and his ship. Whether Blackbeard, Lafitte, Devon, like no matter who's here, regardless of who's here, they're missing. They're MIA. This is another one of those things where it's like, are we going to be logical or is this like an anime thing? Because I'm just like, wait, if Blackbeard's ship was here and we have 100 marine ships, around Egghead Island and PX-3s just all around the coast of Egghead Island, wouldn't we have seen their ship? Like, where is it? Do you have an explanation for that or what? Because my only explanation is that maybe they're after the researchers. Maybe the researchers do know something and then they have pudding and they like extract the memories. That's kind of where I'm at. But another thing I've seen people say is that maybe they just destroyed their ship, sunk the logs and then they flew over. Like, I think that's another, possibility. There's a lot of weird things with the Blackbeard pirates. Maybe even Van Auger's here and he teleported them. A lot of kooky things. Where are you at?
Yeah, I think with the Blackbeard pirates, it is like they should, like we saw them, so it's like, did they just like, are they waiting, like are they, because that admission that they're here and then for them to swoop in is kind of, it's not gross, it's just weird, you know what I mean? Like, why would you, because showing them before anybody else kind of implies that they would have like a progressive contribution to whatever happens here. But when their shtick is literally showing up at the end and just like taking what they want, then why would you do that beforehand and then just have them like at the pit stop outside, like at the gas station? You know what I mean? Like, it's a little odd. There's thousands of ways that that they could in the air, who knows? But one thing that's people brought up is maybe we can infer that he has a black Den Mushi that can wiretap the phone call. So at the minimum, he's probably listening into this. And so maybe there's something in the conversation that steers his focus towards something else. But as far as what you were saying, I think that's a valid one, right? Like if we're talking about how the evacuees escape and because I think the ship already left, right? Didn't they say that the ship already?
The ship, So funny enough, another reason I'm on that Blackbeard train with the ship is because when we last saw the researcher ship take off, that's actually the same page where we see the Blackbeard ship pull up.
Right. So that could be how the evacuees escape. It's not technically escaping if you're running into Blackbeard, but it's definitely escaping when the alternative is Saint Saturn wants to eliminate you and erase you. So, it's not necessarily the best option, but I think that is a plausible one. But again, it is still weird if Blackbeard showed up. And I guess it's not weird, because if our assumption was Blackbeard was on Winter's Island, everyone else was on thing, and then there's like two Luffy, Devon, whoever else was here, then maybe that's all that they could do, right? They took over the people. Maybe that's what it is. That's why Oda showed us the ship there, and then we're done, And then Dragon is the one who shows up, so it's not Blackbeard. That'd be kind of cool.
That's the crazy thing with One Piece, is that there's just so many characters. There's so many possibilities. Like anything's possible. Maybe it's even Whoop Slap,
Hey, who knows? Who knows where the waves carry people?
Who knows where that Whoop be slapping?
Yep. We'll never know.
But with that being said, the next thing we see is Jewelry Bonnie. There's a lot in this chapter, surprisingly. Jewelry Bonnie. They're talking about her, and then he says, hey, we'll leave Jewelry Bonnie alone. She's just a kid, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's like, okay, we're going to kill Vegapunk. We're going to kill Sentomaru. We're going to kill the researchers because they might know something. But Bonnie, though, she's just a kid. Come on, guys. Let's leave Bonnie alone. I thought that was fascinating. It's like, wait, like, what is Bonnie's connection with the Gorosei? Like, what do you think? Where are you sitting?
No, I have no idea, honestly. I have a few things that's going to bring up Bonnie, but like as far as what she is to the world government, it's not necessarily drawing a blank. It's more so like Oda's purposely, it's like the Stussy situation. Like I think I had inklings of what would happen with Stussy with the double agent thing, but there's like no shot that like you could nail that theory without having hindsight about it, right? Because it was so crazy and connected, and it was like so not contrived, but it was like clearly like Oda didn't really give you enough to like go that full direction. I think Bonnie in a lot of ways is that kind of thing where it's like we're not even seeing Kuma's flashback, we time skipped that, like, so we're time and time again not getting anything on Bonnie, and I think Oda is setting up for a payoff. And hey, I liked this Stussy reveal. It felt cool. You can only judge it fully in like later on once we like get the full scope of things. Was it necessary? Was there like, did it end up paying off? Right? Bonnie's gonna feel like that. I feel like Oda wrote Bonnie in a way where it's not a catch-all, but it's kind of like there's like gaps, and which gaps she's filling, you'll never know until they're filled, right?
You'll never know what her hole is like.
Yeah,
but that Bonnie hole runs deep, because between her, Akainu, the Gorosei, Blackbeard, Kuma, like what was her kingdom? Sorbet Kingdom. Like there's so much with Bonnie, and we have so little.
She can evolve herself to look exactly like the queen, which is
she can change timelines.
Yeah,
or not change timelines, but she can turn you into like a different timeline of yourself. Like what the heck? Yeah, it's a crazy power, man. Bonnie's nuts.
Like her power sounds made up, like it sounds like it's a little bit like Law's power in a way. I've been talking about this recently, where like Brago made a video. It's like Law's devil fruit is like 5 devil fruits, maybe 6, maybe 7, and like Law's fruit is like so bloated, and like I feel like the same thing with Bonnie's, and I guess the justification at the moment is we don't even know Bonnie's fruit name, so it's like so the fact that we don't even know her power name, we don't know like what is her max min, like what we don't even know if she's a kid at the like she's like base state a child, like we don't even know that.
We know her age, but even then, like, did Oda lie to us?
Yeah, like Oda even said in the thing, it was like, this is an estimate kind of thing, right? Like I think he wrote that.
So he didn't say that actually. So somebody asked Oda about like all the supernovas' age and their heights, and Oda was like, yeah, Bonnie's 22. Like there was no like estimated. So like we know for sure that she's 22, unless Oda, wants to backtrack on that or say that, oh, but that's what she always ages to, then that's fine. But I don't know. It's like it's a weird one with Bonnie. Like Bonnie's such a strange character.
Yeah. Again, the catch-all thing is like I feel like it's gonna make sense in hindsight, but it's not something you couldn't connect. The dots are so
like
scattered.
You can't see Bonnie in Sabaody like 10, 15 years ago and say, yeah, this is what's gonna happen with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't really predict this.
Yeah, and then again, there was like Akainu said, like shivers ran down his spine when he heard she escaped. I think that's weird. Like what?
Yeah,
Akainu's made of magma. Like he didn't even have shivers when Kuzan was fighting him. Like that's excessive.
When he was fighting Kuzan, his blood was boiling.
Yeah,
and you're telling me when Bonnie escaped, Akainu's shivering like it's cold? Like what is going on here?
What
Who is
a
this
wild
girl?
statement! And then he's like, "I'm gonna return you to the marriage law or something like that." And it's like now marriage law came to her, and he's like, "Meh." Yeah, it's a meh. It's like, wait,
he says meh, but he's also like, it's just a little girl. Like leave her be, like destroy everybody, but not Bonnie. Whatever.
What if Bonnie is Nerona? Bonnie Nerona. Maybe it's
Bonnie Nerona. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, like maybe it's a situation where she's like the next JJK a little bit, but like like she's a next inheritor kind of thing.
Yeah,
she's like the vessel.
A vessel that maybe Emu wants. Oh, could be something there. Are you caught up to JJK, the anime?
The anime, yeah.
Oh, you watched the last episode?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's good. I love JJK.
Yeah, we should talk about. After I watched last episode, it's like, oh, I want to talk to Sai.
It's such a good. It's a good show. Like people, they underplay it because like One Piece is a thing, and we do One Piece. But I have a lot of respect for JJK. Like what they were able to accomplish in less than 30 episodes, a lot of shows could never do. Yeah. Like if you compare the first 30 episodes of JJK to like any other series, like it's hard to get that. I wouldn't say depth, but it's hard to get that much out of a different series.
Yeah, and like, to be fair, like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, they're of a different era where
like they didn't have to go crazy with the first part.
But even in a modern sense, like JJK is an outlier of like we've gotten the chapter 0 stories. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and then like the depth on the topics, right? People are like, One Piece isn't that deep, it's a cartoon. I'm like, try to say that about JJK right now. Like they're making some deep comments about religion and politics right now. And it's like,
it's cool,
this is the main characters. Yeah.
And this was only like 30 episodes. Like
yeah.
Like that's the thing too, like One Piece, when we first started, like the first 30 episodes of One Piece, East Blue Saga, Baratie, we're not even at Fishman or Nami's Kokoyashi Village yet. Like if you were to say One Piece is deep after Buggy, it's like, okay, like it's cool, but like it's not that deep.
Yeah.
Like it's only in hindsight with like 1,000 chapters now, like where it's like, okay, like everything is crazy in One Piece, right? If you give any series 1,000 chapters, I would like to imagine you can go back and be like, whoa, that first arc, like look at all that foreshadowing. Like it's just I don't know, it's nice. It's nice. There's no competition with animes. They're all winners. They're all winners in different ways.
Yeah, they do a good job where it's like it's not too much. It's like very intentional, It's like if you pay attention, you're rewarded, and that's ultimately what you'd want from a series where it's like a lot of people in One Piece specifically feel bad when they latched onto a specific detail, and then Oda showed that detail he doesn't really care about, right? Whereas like that detail felt important earlier on, but in the scope of 1,000 details, maybe like that wasn't in the front of Oda's mind, but maybe it was, and he changed his mind, right? Like there's so many ways you could think about it. Whereas JJK, it's like you pay attention, you're rewarded instantly because the things that you pay attention to, they matter. Yeah, and they're sick.
And like you said, different eras too. Like Oda had 26 years with One Piece. JJK has like maybe 6.
Yeah.
It's like that 20 years is we can't undersell that.
Yeah.
But
I would say
what's up?
Current One Piece, like these chapters, Egghead feels like modern anime.
Oh yeah. Like the pacing that Oda's going at, everything we're getting, Oda is aging well. Yeah. With his writing. Like he's not falling off.
Yeah. Yeah, like if that were like if we were to bring it back to like Egghead, yeah, the reason why it feels good is because it's like that level of
Yeah,
like every
everything's paying
single.
off. Everything's
Yeah.
moving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. Except for Bonnie, like
except for
apparently
Bonnie. Yeah, bringing it back. Bonnie though, let me tell you, Bonnie's just it's like an endless it's like an endless box. It's like a clown's pocket. Like you just keep on
yeah.
pulling it out. It's like when's it ending? When are we gonna get to the
No,
good stuff? Come on, where's the rabbit?
It's the magician's hat, but every time Oda pulls out Bonnie, he's like, "What the fuck is this?" And just throws it back in there.
Yeah, this is confused.
What do I do with this?
He's like Bonnie, like God. I feel like it's always in the cards for Bonnie because ever since day one, Bonnie has been different from the other supernova.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, day one, Bonnie was like what, crying about Kuma, like there was a lot of that mystery behind her. Whereas like the other supernovas, it's like you see Drake, you know, you're like, okay, I have a good feeling what he's all about. You know, I see Kid, it's like, okay, I kind of know what he's about. Bonnie's like the weird one. So I feel like Bonnie since day one has been her.
Technically not save Zoro. She saved Charlos through Zoro
in
the guise of saving Zoro and the island.
Imagine she didn't care about Zoro or the Admiral. She actually just cared about Saint Charlos.
She was like, oh no, if he shoots Zoro, then Zoro's gonna kill him. Big brother Charlos.
And Saint Charlos didn't have his time yet to play with my dad. God, that'd be so messed up.
Oh no.
So going on though, we see York calling the Gorosei. And I love the way they frame this too. They're like, oh, like, I've told you about the betrayal. I gave you the Mother Flame. You think I couldn't survive the night? I have the Seraphim. And then we get so much here. And then we cut over to the very end of the chapter. And she's like, but by the way, guys, Luffy's going to kill me. I need you to save me now.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so much. And, you know, the Mother Flame thing is another big aspect of this chapter. We learn that York is the one who gave it to them. Mother Flame is a power source that they need to fuel whatever weapon they have, which it all makes sense. This just very much, I say this time and time again too, but like it reminds me of nuclear energy, right? It can be used for good, it can be used for bad, but even modern day now, we don't use nuclear energy because of all of the stigma behind it. Yeah, and I feel like it could also be used here too, like maybe after we beat all of this, they're like, oh, like the Mother Flame is great, guys. Let's give it a chance. And then people are like, no, but Lucia though, you know, like, come on.
I like what Oda. This is another example of actually taking something rooted in reality, which is the Vegapunk looks like Einstein. He made like he was one of the fathers of nuclear energy, and that nuclear energy was used for good and bad at the same time. But here's where Oda stretches it. It seems to me that like if this was a real world parallel, it would stop at the fusion reactor. It would stop at the Mother Flame is a thing, and the Gorosei or Imu use the Mother Flame to create an explosion, right? But what it seems like is the Mother Flame was extinguished or it was used up, and they need another one to power some kind of like some kind of thing that creates the Lucia event. So the extension is, in our world, we don't have a parallel of that, right? We have nuclear energy and we have nukes, but we don't have like we didn't go as far as weaponizing nuclear or having a weapon that requires nuclear energy.
Like a gun that runs on nuclear energy.
Yeah, we probably do, but like we stopped the buck at nukes because that was already crazy, right? Because we could use that. But like it seems like for example, a nuke can create an earthquake depending on how you use it, but the effect that they got out of this, that's not necessarily how a nuke works, right? So it's like but it's the same in essence, it's the same in feeling, but it's clearly like Oda's extending from that. And like you said, it's like most of how this went through makes like we kind of just like saw this, which feels good, right? Like I guess the main question and I think this is where the fun part's gonna come in, where it's like did Egghead, I don't know if we know Egghead felt the reaction of what happened at Lucia, which is interesting because Fuchsia Village felt the effects of Leloucia is on the same side of the world as Egghead. And so the question of where Dragon and Sabo came in, like, wait, Vegapunk made that did that? And now we get the nuance that Vegapunk made the energy source probably, and the weapon is separate. And we were talking about this yesterday. The way they talked about the Mother Flame, they said the Mother Flame. They didn't like talk about it as if it's a weapon. They talked about it as if it's a power source, power plant, fusion reactor. And so now it's like Vegapunk says at the end. I think he goes like, so that's how it is, right? If there was anyone to piece the puzzle together, it's Vegapunk, right? So now he's gonna theorize, I'm assuming, of what happened here, which is York gave this, right? This weapon doesn't, this is what this Mother Flame is, probably. That's, I'm assuming, what Vegapunk is gonna explain very soon. And then the part that he doesn't know is the part that Imu and the Gorosei have that they powered with the Mother Flame. And so he's probably going to get the reports or whatever of what happened to Lucia from Lucci, possibly, because Lucci came into the island knowing what happened to Leloucia to a certain extent, whereas the Straw Hats and Vegapunk may not know because we don't have any inkling to the Vegapunks knowing, or Shaka.
Or the newspaper here.
Or the newspaper here. So Lucci might give Vegapunk that info. Vegapunk then theorizes what that is. And hey, that might be where we get the Uranus discrepancy. That might be where we get the National Treasure discrepancy, right? That is what I'm expecting here. And I feel like how this all felt was really great. And I also like it because the feeling that I had, and I think you had it too, was early Egghead. We were we amplified the importance of the traitor because Oda did that. He was like, we were running around, who's the traitor? Traitor's the biggest thing. We were looking at panels, blah, blah. We were fighting over which Stella or which satellite, if there was a Stella, whatever. And then once it got revealed, at least I felt like York isn't that important in the grand scheme of things. And that gets reflected here because we time skip York's like entire thing. She's done everything that she said was under duress. And so like none of what she's doing here necessarily matters. What matters now is how Vegapunk and Luffy and Kizaru end up meeting and clashing and how this all gets resolved. So I like the time Oda, what Oda did with the time in this end of the chapter and what we skipped, because if you think about it, it's like what would we get in between? You know what I mean? Like
it would feel like
struggling.
filler.
Yeah, exactly. We skipped that. Take that out of here. The anime might do that. The anime might show York like running around like, oh my god,
a York 1v1ing Straw Hat Luffy.
Yeah,
Imagine
like
that. She's not even a fighter.
Could do that, and then that'd be so rough. But like the manga did us justice here, I think.
Yeah, I think Oda saved us a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing too. Like the Seraphims are a big one, right? But Sanji was fighting them. Luffy, Lucci, Zoro, and Kaku were fighting them. Like, did we really think any of the boys would lose that fight? I don't think we did.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody expected us to lose. It was more so like, we didn't know how the fire worked until Zoro said something. So he was kind of like, if anything, Zoro was the filler. Like, Zoro was causing the filler to happen. But the minute Zoro said, oh, yeah, by the way, when the flame's out, we can hurt them. It's like, oh, no big deal then. Like, Lucci could probably 1v1 him. Like, Luffy could 1v... Like, they could all just 1v1 him. Sanji wasn't even in the room. He could probably 1v1 the Jinbei Seraphim. Like, it as long as you figure out...
He didn't even know about the fire thing.
He didn't even know about the fire thing. But the thing is that we kind of make fun of these characters saying, sometimes they're kind of dumb, but, when they're in battle, they're smart. Sanji, even though he wasn't in the room, I like to imagine that Sanji would figure it out, right? He hurts Jinbei. Jinbei keeps on getting up. And then he turns off the fire. It's like, oh, I can hurt him now. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, we beat King already. Like, these guys, these little kids, not a problem as they are right here. So, yeah, we skipped all of that. And then York, right? Like, what? Chopper, Robin, Atlas were about to show up to York. And then Brook was, like, going around the whole building in his ghost form. The minute Robin is in a room with York, Chopper, like, it's not a fight, really. Like, Robin, demonio form, easily stomps her. York is just a big girl with the gun. She's 8 foot tall, yes, but to our knowledge, she doesn't have hockey. She doesn't have a sword. She doesn't have a devil fruit. She doesn't have strength. She just has a somewhat giant pistol.
Yeah.
And it's done. It's done.
It would have been sick if instead of a pistol, she just beats down like she like go bah, and then just
yeah. Instead of shooting Shaka, she just comes from behind and just punches a hole through his head. That'd be kind of sick.
That would have been so cool. Just bah, and then that's an important thing, right? Like, did we lose the satellites that aren't here? Because like
I don't know.
Like, it's kind of casual, but that is something that is important here, right? We were brought into the thing, Atlas getting rocked, and then they just brought her back to life, and then they were like, oh, we could just replace us, right? Like, we could bring them back. So is Shaka and the rest of them, are they just going to get remade? And if so, then, like, the thing is, there's one important thing about doing the time skip the way they did it, the way Oda did it, was I think a lot of people had a time skip idea, but it would time skip to, like, Saturn and Kizaru actively participating or finishing on the island of some sort. This is a different version of that because this is a situation where now Vegapunk has prep time. You give Vegapunk prep time, it's wraps. Like,
it's like giving Batman prep time. You know, we say Usopp, you know, like Usopp can win a lot of fights if he knew who he was fighting, had prep time, whatever. Infinite resources. Vegapunk is that guy.
Yeah, he 100% that guy. He's gonna look at them like, oh, Kizaru's coming. Oh,
get me my photon gloves.
Yeah, like send out the holograms. He can't bounce off of them because he and they are made of light. So, like, you know how crazy that would be if the holograms were like Kizaru's counter because he can't like phase through them because he's light. That'd be kind of sick. But like on the back end, it's like one, right? We're missing Robin, Stussy, Kaku. And the Seraphim, what are they doing? But on the flip side, we see Vegapunk chilling, and now he's like, so that's how it is. And we're like, in terms of all the ways that he can escape, the man showed up. If people forgot, he showed up teleporting.
Yeah.
He showed up with what was it? Was space-time warping? Like,
and not to mention, he trusts Luffy to save him, too.
Yeah. So he's not even worried. He has his backpack on. He's like, all right.
He's like Dora the Explorer. He's ready for a little adventure.
He's like, A, B, C, or D. Which one? Which plan are we going with, Luffy? Which one? And Luffy's just like, I don't really know. I'm just
we're just going places, man.
Yeah, and like, you know, Usopp is acting like he's him, but like, I like Zoro. I think Zoro smiling really finished off this panel. It's like the perfect like cherry on top. But like, everyone's here. Everyone's fine. There's no threat. And it's like, now that Vegapunk is allowed time, it's like, it's diffusing. Like, I don't see why they would plan to fight. They would plan to escape, right? Like, that's it. Yeah. So,
and I'm sure Vegapunk knows how the best way to get off of his own island too. So there's also that.
Yeah, like, we're gonna find out that, like, the brain is a giant spaceship. Like, some cracked... like, he closes the egg, then, like, rocket boosters come out.
It's gonna be like Jimmy Neutron. Got a blast!
Yeah, exactly. That'd be kind of sick, you know? And, like, he has all... 5 minutes. That's all he needs. He's the smartest man
He's
in
had the
world.
entire night, probably, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and the night. Oh, my God. He got that sleep.
We had a little time skip, man. Like, let me tell you, Vegapunk. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I do want Frankie and Usopp to be a part of it, though. Like, them to, like, you know... Now, if Shaka's not...
All right, now you're getting crazy part. You know, you want to reel that back to reality?
Hey, come on.
I always hope for the day Usopp gets an upgrade, but I'm tired of waiting, man. Like, this... Buying Usopp stocks might be good, like, 50 years from now, but you gotta admit, short-term gain for Usopp is non-existent.
I just realized
What's
something. Up? Not only do we have time going forward, but we did time skip an entire night.
Oh, yeah,
That could mean... Wait. That could mean that when we see the Straw Hats show out, Vegapunk could have reinforced all of them already.
Yeah, they could technically have their upgrades right now.
Yeah, like Nami has like the gun thing. Maybe that's the new climb attack. Like, she has a gun that shoots bubbles because his thing is the bubble gun. So Nami's new climb attack could just be like she has the weather bubble gun thing. Wait,
I hope they have upgrades.
Yeah,
all of these dudes need upgrades, and I feel like the best person to do it is definitely Vegapunk.
Yeah, we gave him time. We gave him a whole night. They were sitting
A
up
whole night, man.
They were having a sleepover. This is great.
A sleepover with an old man Vegapunk. Powerful.
I'm hype. I'm hype.
Imagine the next time we see the Sunny, it already has upgrades too. Imagine they all have Mother Flame upgrades. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, this is. Wait, I just got so excited. I didn't even register.
I remember when we went into this chapter. When me and Par, before we hit record, Par was like, yeah, it's an okay chapter. There's not a lot here.
Oh, you said that.
I did not say... What? From day one, I love this chapter because of the Vice Admirals and everything. I was like,
yeah, the Vice Admirals. I gave you a whole new world to love. That's what.
Par, I'm a step ahead of you, man. I actually have a video about all the upgrades the Sunny's getting coming out tomorrow. Stay tuned for that, guys.
I mean, that's low-hanging fruit. The Sunny getting...
Yeah, but the Straw Hat's getting upgrades is also low-hanging fruit. We all already knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, but... Yeah, we knew it was going to happen, but the fact that it already happened, meaning like we could get it like next chapter, is kind of cool, you know? That's a little bit different. Fair. Yeah, as far as go have fun, go make that video. I'm not... Hey, that was a good foresight side.
Hey, believe it or not, Par, Luffy's going to be Pirate King. Don't steal my theory now.
Makino's baby is Shanks' son. Like, oh my god.
Hey guys, hey, watch out. Tomorrow I got a video coming out. It's gonna be about who Lola's mom is. We heard that she was a great pirate, but let me tell you, I think she's none other than Big Mom herself.
I got one better for you.
What's up?
Kizaru's devil fruit, it might be light.
Incoherent screaming. Oh man, you know, something funny too. I guess the last two things we got to talk about is Robin. I've seen a lot of people say that Robin is like missing and that's like a crazy thing. I really don't think it is. Like some people are like, oh man, Robin's missing, guys. Like guys, Robin's like the only one not here. But it's like at the same time, we're not worried about Robin, are we? Like, we're kind of at that point in the story where, like, she's not, like, the helpless little girl anymore. Like, yeah, you know, Wano, she ran from CP0, but that's because she can't do anything anymore. Like, she used all of her energy, and, like, everybody's in their own fights. But, like, for now, it's like, bro, Sanji, Luffy, Zoro, Lucci even. Like, we got everybody here just chilling. If Robin was really in danger, there's no way anybody here would be chilling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And plus Chopper's here too. So, you know, Chopper was with Robin last we saw her. So she's definitely fine. Definitely.
Yeah. Sanji would know. Sanji wouldn't be making food right now, right? Like he literally ran in.
He has hard eyes right now.
Yeah. So like with the Robin conversation, right? Like when you reel it back, like she wasn't running, like she was scared for her life, but it was mainly if like a Lucci or a Kuzan showed up. Like she knew she couldn't fight them, but like when she gave up, it was ultimately like she could have ran down Kuzan even. Like, why didn't you just run? Like they were like that too. It's like, but it's because she was tied to the Straw Hats, right? So even then she was capable. It was just that like she you know sacrificed. She was being self-sacrificial. But if it came to a situation where like Cypher Pole showed up, she probably even then beats most of them. It was literally just like Lucci and Kaku that are like, you know, even like Kaku, maybe even back then she wasn't that worried, like before he had the devil fruit, but like right now I'm worried about Kaku, bro. He's 1v5.
Yeah, his neck is getting twisted by Robin's like mono, so like it's game over, man.
Stussy already bit his neck. Robin's there, many hands. Like who knows?
The Seraphim are probably there too. Like it's game over. Like if Lucci or Kaku were gonna fight anybody at this point, it would be GG. I love Lucci and Kaku. I hype them up every chance they get, just like the Vice Admirals. But hear me out, they're not winning this fight.
Yeah, like unless Stussy was a quadruple reverse agent for some reason, which it absolutely doesn't feel like that unless like Oda's a crackhead, like then yeah, maybe I'm worried about Robin because Stussy is a little bit like you know, Stussy and Kaku, but Stussy specifically, like she has an immobilizing power. But like you said, like everyone here is chilling. Like we should take that as context clues that Robin is fine, and we should be more putting our brain power towards what could that like group of people be like currently doing, right? Because this is planned. They planned to have York call the Celestial Dragons and open up this conversation so that they could get the info, right? They let York say whatever they wanted. Let York say Straw Hat Luffy is here to kill me, right? They're fine with that. All of this is their plan. This is going according to plan. So it makes more sense that Robin, Kaku, Stussy, the Seraphims, and possibly the other satellites are doing something that requires those people, but also is necessary in this situation. So as far as what that is, I'm not even really sure, because it's like, I think Robin was with, in the organoid part of the lab. And that was where they found out that they can make replicas of all the Vegapunks. You'd imagine, though, if that was what they were doing, Chopper would be there, right? And then on the flip side, if they were weaponizing, right, and going back there, you would think Frankie was there. Robin specifically is an interesting one, because when she leaves, it's usually poneglyph stuff. When she leaves, it's usually Void Century history stuff. So what that entails in this moment, I'm not even really sure, because then you add Kaku and Stussy. Why are they with them or her and not one of the Straw Hats, right? Like, that is
but she probably also has Atlas and Lilith as well, because they're also missing. And those were the two satellites that we know are like fine right now, unless they just somehow died off screen.
Yeah. So as far as like I think it makes more sense to think about this from a Robin-centric thing. In the past, when she's left, what has she done? What is she capable of? And how would that be helpful in this situation? Because that's, I think, she's going to return. She's like, I did it. Or like the Straw's like, oh, did you get that done? Right? And she's like, yeah. So it's like, whether it's her devil fruit power that's necessary, or her brain that's necessary, or maybe they need to clone Robin, because at the end of the day, Saint Saturn is going to want Robin too, I'm assuming, right? Because they always wanted Robin. So maybe it's cloning Robin. Who knows?
I think, for me, I think there's two possibilities, or the only two possibilities that I could come up with are that maybe Robin is checking out the ancient robot. Maybe she's looking at the Mother Flame and, relating that to like the poneglyph somehow. Maybe she's even going through Kuma's memories, because there's Marie's raw information there. Like, there's a couple of things. Like, and honestly, she could even be tackling the Holy Trinity. She could be doing all three of those.
What was tackling the Holy Trinity referred to in this moment?
Kuma's memories, Mother Flame, and Ancient Robot.
Oh, okay.
That's the Holy Trinity.
While you're talking, I was thinking, like, what if
she got religious, let me tell you.
No, wait, hold on. You're gonna like this. Wait. Okay, let me. I'm gonna like where my brain.
All right, hear me out.
So you're not gonna like the start. You're not gonna like the start. The start of where my brain started was, what if she's just calling Saul? She found out that Saul's alive.
Fine. I don't care.
Yeah, so like that's.
I thought you were gonna say that Lucci, Kaku, and the Vice Admirals went down. I was about to say, stop, Power, stop. I can't hear this anymore. Too much slander.
No. So that was the beginning. That's where I was like, yeah, that's sentimental. Like, Robin just found out Saul's alive, so surely she would call Saul. Better call Saul. But like, then my brain went to like, wait, we want Dragon and Sawa to show up. Who is the Straw Hat who has the connection to them? It's Robin. So what if Robin is calling? Yeah, and she tells them about the situation, and she's the one who ends up ultimately bringing them there, because apparently Shaka wasn't enough. Shaka dying wasn't like, because, Shaka is just a robot. So like, when he calls and Dragon hears like, oh, you're dying. Oh, sorry, boop boop bop. Like, maybe he's just like,
yeah, sorry.
But Robin, the light of the revolutions, right? Like, she calls, they're going to run after. Right? So and then she tells them that the Gorosei guy. Oh, they don't know that the Gorosei. Oh no, now they know the Gorosei guy's there. But that could be what she's doing. She's calling Dragon. I like this idea.
I like that. No.
Yeah.
Hey, like I said, I'm all on board the Dragon train. If Dragon shows up, I think that'd be a massive W.
Yeah. Dragon, please.
Dragon, please do this. I want to stop slant. Like, I do not get pleasure from like making fun of Dragon.
Like, I think if Dragon doesn't show up at the end of this, given what, I don't even think we're crazy to think that we should expect something out of him. So if he doesn't, I feel like I'm just gonna have to go mute. Like, every time Dragon gets brought up in any conversation, I'm just
next Reverie they bring up Dragon, and then you just like, hey guys, my wife's calling me. Ha ha ha. The refrigerator's on the run. I'll be back in a little bit.
Like I personally, it's kind of like with Usopp, right? I made an Usopp theory. It went big. People believe in it. I always say I could not have made that after Onigashima. I'm so glad I made it before Onigashima because where was he in Onigashima? He could have done so many things.
Imagine somebody says, Par, I love your Usopp theory, and then you start sweating. Like, can I have your autograph? You're like, yes.
No, some people have. I not like that, not to that extent, but like newer people. When I got into Hassan, like that, like round, people were like, "Oh, I watched your Usopp video. I loved it," and I'm like, "Yikes!"
They're like, "Oh, only me and Par on the Usopp train," and you're like sweating. Your eyes are red.
I'm on the Usopp train. Don't get me wrong, but I'm mute. I'm already mute.
That's what I said. Like, I do think Usopp stocks will pop off 50 years in the future, but short-term game for Usopp has not. It's not been his forte, right? Like, if you are day trading the Usopp stocks, you're in the red, buddy. Like, it is never looking good. But let me tell you, it's like
there's
GameStop,
no diamond
AMC.
hands.
GameStop AMC, hold on, bro. Like, one day it's gonna pop off. One day.
Yo, you're so right. Usopp is Wall Street bet, like not Wall Street bets, but it's like diamond handsing.
Yeah,
like
you have to diamond hands it.
Like
harder than Dragon.
This is longer. This was Elbaf. We from Little Garden to Elbaf. We tasted Elbaf and people like invest. We own your.
And here we are years later. We're just like wrinkles on our forehead. It's, the thing is like, Dragon, we're diamond handsing Dragon, but Dragon isn't a bad bet. Like, we know, like, meme on Dragon. Dragon's gonna be that guy. Like, leader of the revolutionaries. It's built into his DNA, literally. Usopp, though, it's like, if Oda wanted to, Usopp could, even after Elbaf, he might not get an upgrade. Like, it's not 100%. Like, what if he just goes to Elbaf and he gets, like, a mental boost, right? He's like, oh, I am a brave warrior. Like, what if he doesn't get a physical upgrade? It's like, oh man, like that is rough.
Yeah, like
and that could be it. That could be it.
The difference is, it's like people want to invest on the want and desire for a Straw Hat and Usopp to get elevated, rather than invest on the end goal. At the end of the day, the end EOS of Usopp is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
The end of series Dragon, though, that is like it would be weird if Oda didn't do that.
Like
and like if we end the series and Usopp somehow gets better portrayal than Dragon, I don't know what
I'd be happy for it, but let me tell you, I'm not putting my eggs in that basket. It's like Usopp, right? Like Zoro's end goal, like world's strongest swordsman. Zoro's gonna get stronger every arc. Usopp just wants to be a brave warrior. Like, in the grand scheme of things, he just wants to be brave. Like, Usopp doesn't say, I want to be the strongest guy out there. Like, that's never been his, MO. Like, I don't know, man. Like maybe he does go to Elbaf and he just gets boosted up by the giants.
When we talk about, like, the power scaling dreams, Queen is number one, right? Top of the verse in terms of dreams. Usopp technically is the bottom of the verse when you think about it, because his dream is kind of just like, he just needs to not look at an island. He needs to look at an island and not be afraid to just land on it. That's
Usopp
like the bear.
Probably has the easiest dream out of the Straw Hats.
Oh God, guys, don't get me wrong. Hey, this is
and
for legal purposes. It's just for comedy.
That's not bad, because, like, everybody has a hard dream. Somebody's got to be at the bottom. Usopp's taking that fall. Like, Frankie wants to sail around the world. Robin wants to find out the Void Century. Chopper wants to cure every illness known to mankind. Usopp just wants to be brave.
At least he has a dream. Some people don't have dreams.
You know what? Hey, there we go. Some people can't even think. Some people are lobotomized. Yeah. Usopp isn't one of them. Beautiful.
I would honestly put the jacket fruit dreamer below Usopp.
There we go. Usopp, we gotta hype him up. Somehow, some way, gotta hype this dude up. Yeah, my dad's gonna be so happy the minute Usopp becomes brave.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no
my dad
shot
loves
Usopp. If Usopp does something on Egghead, like, this face is the face of a man who's about to do something.
Usopp's
but is he gonna do
at
something?
The end of this chapter makes it seem like he's the one who took down York in the Seraphim. He's smiling. Yeah, we did it. We did it, boys.
He's listening in, and he's just like, they think we're gonna give them mother flame. Wait until I give them my mother's flame.
we thought Usopp was rock solid when he got stoned by the bow of Hancock Seraphim. He's rock solid right now. Let me tell you.
Oh my god,
Usopp is living good.
Watch Usopp pull out the Soja King mask, and he just cracks out. He's just sitting on Egghead, sniping down 30,000. He's sick. That's the thing. He in a good timeline, that is the Usopp. He has the perch. He has the defense. He has the place. He even has a stockpile of laser weapons and a weapon field of the smartest man in the world. That's not
Usopp could snipe people from Dressrosa, Eni's lobby tower. Honestly, if you turn down the security dome, I think Usopp could take out all those Marines. I mean, minus the Vice Admirals and Kizaru.
With the right ammo, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Usopp is... I think Usopp has the buildup of a great character. I like how we're backtracking so much. We're like, oh man, Usopp sucks. And then now we're like, but Usopp, though, like, Usopp fans, hear me out, please.
No, but the thing is, like, I think we're safe. Well, it's funny how much we extended the video and it's on Usopp. We did this one time before on Usopp. It's funny, but like when we realized, we're like, wait, this is the problem though with Usopp. This is a perfect scenario for him. He has the safety, defense, the Yonko protection, Vegapunk protection. He has it all. When else in any arc are your enemies coming to you and you sit in a spot and it's
a sniper position? Let me tell you.
And it's opened, like, what?
A sniper's wet dream, really.
And like, maybe that's what Oda wanted. Like, he's just like, oh, they'll figure it out from Usopp's cocky face here. But I still don't believe in Usopp doing anything.
Oh, no. Guys, please, Oda, give Usopp a W.
Yeah, just one ship, please.
One ship.
Like, there's what, 100 ships? This five ships.
Remember in Wano, not when he couldn't damage Page 1 at all, and Page 1 just laughed at him, but do you remember in Wano when, what was it? Kanjuro was trying to, like, escape with Momonosuke, and Usopp was trying to aim, but he was like, man, the storm clouds are in my way. Oh, no.
Yasopp would never. Yasopp would be, like, on the other side of the apparently so, like, and still hit them. You know what I mean?
Same with Van Auger.
Like, yeah, Usopp's out here just like, bro, it's a little windy today, don't you think?
Man, there's a cloud in my eye. Like, God, I can't aim anymore, guys. Get me out.
Yeah, he's just like,
please do stop.
Yeah, on top of that, I'm scared of looking that way. There's an island over there.
I got a lazy eye this morning, man. Like, ooh.
Oh, God, I pray. Wait, so next chapter we're getting next week, right?
We should be.
Gotcha.
All right. Which last topic now. Last thing we're going to talk about here. Lucci.
Mm-hmm.
What is he going to do? Do you think he's going to help the Straw Hats, or do you think he's going to betray them? Like what's up here? Because I love Lucci for Nakama. I think that's hilarious. I don't think he's actually going to be a Straw Hat. But as far as an ally goes, I think he kind of has to be on the Straw Hat side. Like, once the Gorosei and Kizaru show up, like, what is he gonna say? Like, hey, the Straw Hats beat me into submission, now I'm just chilling with them? like how do you explain yourself, right? Like this is like,
repeat that really quick? What does Lucci say to
like that's the thing.
He's just standing there. Yeah, they just beat my ass.
Yeah, they just beat me into submission. Like, now I'm just, hanging out with them at the feast. Like, how do you explain? Like, he's not even handcuffed. If Lucci was handcuffed, they'd be like, oh my gosh, like, we gotta save Lucci. But now they see him and he's just like, hey guys. It's like if your wife were to walk into you and, like, there's you and a girl and you're both naked. It's like, how do you explain that? Like,
yeah,
sure, it might make sense given the context, but, like, no, it would be like, well, I'm out. See you later, part. Like, how would Lucci and Kaku save face here? Like, you really can't.
You
like what? They lost their jobs because they lost to Luffy back in Eni's lobby. Now, not only did they lose to Luffy, but they're hanging out with them.
In the scope of the alliance thing, right? Early on, the theory, like before we got onto Egghead and we saw Lucci, the idea was like the Gorosei end up threatening his life too, and it was like a situation where they're compromised, and so they're forced to be with Luffy, right? And at this point, I don't see a world where they get like morally swapped, right? Like I don't think anything is happening at this moment. It's not like even if you explain the Void Century and you explain what the Gorosei are doing, it's not like that's like Lucci ever even cared, you know what I mean? He just cares about killing people. And you know, maybe so like when he got fired, right? Spandam fired him, and then he went on a rampage and he basically slaughtered Marines, and then he holed up on the CP9 training island, and they sent more people and he beat all of them. He called up Spandam and said, "You're next," I think. And then we don't hear from him ever again, and then he shows up and he's CP0. We don't know what's in between, but it like the Marines, the world government gave up on him. And maybe that character arc plays out where he joined back up so that he could eventually take him down. And maybe that's why earlier on when we got onto Egghead, he was kind of like questioning like the world government, like Leloucia and stuff like that. And Kaku and Stussy were like, "Yo, don't involve us in this conversation. Why are you questioning this?" And that is a little different than the Enies Lobby Lucci. I remember Spandam was talking about a little bit about the politics of like the Frankie, Robin, everything situation. And Lucci says, "I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm here to kill. Like murder's on my mind."
Murder's on the mind right now, buddy.
Yeah. And so with that context, the alliance thing still is kind of like weird, right?
Yeah.
I don't see
I love Lucci, but that is strange.
Yeah. I don't know how that would be explained. But as far as yeah, like, I don't know how Lucci goes back to being a Cypher Pole agent. It's not like, the thing is, what he would need to do is he need to be locked up with the other Cypher Pole agents. And the other Cypher Pole agents at the Devil Fruit facility thing underground need to be like, "Oh yeah, he got beat up and he's locked here the whole time. He had no chance, no shot," right? Like, he tried his best. He needs eyewitnesses at this moment to vouch for his ass. Because, like, he's cuffless, he's chilling, he's not even bloodied up. You're all limbs
he had
intact.
A band-aid a while ago. I don't even see the band-aid anymore, really.
Yeah, and it's like, and then on top of that, how do you explain Stussy? Stussy actually betrays them. So what is the Gorosei gonna think? Does he think like one of them is bad and the other two are fine? Are they gonna take the time to discern that, or are they gonna look at the situation, be like, "There's something not right here. You're not really retaliating enough for my liking"? And so because of that, earlier on, I was questioning what side Cypher Pole ends up being on. And if it ends up being that they have to fight the world government, then I'm going to say those Vice Admirals might have met their match in just Kaku and Lucci.
Oh, yeah,
you know
especially since they're awakened, too. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, I don't like to, but some people like to make fun of Lucci and Kaku, saying, "Oh, they're awakened, but they still lost to like Lucci and Zoro." But here's the thing, they lose to some of the strongest characters in the verse right now, right? Like, people look at Luffy and they call him top 10.
Yeah,
like
Vice
people look at
Admirals
Zoro top 20. Like, yeah, that's like saying, "Oh, you lost to Emu." It's like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, Lucci lost to Luffy, sure.
Yo,
that's
people
cool,
did that
but
with
like,
Sabo.
Yeah, it's
when
strange.
He didn't take out the Gorosei, and I was like, the Gorosei, what do you mean?
You think Sabo's gonna beat Emu and the Goro? Like, what would it look like if Sabo clashed with them even? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like we can't undersell how strong Luffy, the Gorosei, and Emu are. Like, yeah, Lucci lost, but Lucci's still beating a majority of the verse. Like, just being awakened and being able to even stand in a ring with Luffy for a minute.
Yeah, like, to the point where it's like, Lucci's an assassin, bro. Like, he's in the room with Vegapunk. His mission objective is right there.
And he's not doing it.
He's not doing it.
And Luffy doesn't even feel the danger to handcuff this guy anymore.
Yeah, he blitzed Luffy and got sent to Maru. You know what I mean? Like there is that plot line earlier on where it's like, yeah, Luffy might be aware, Zoro's aware, whatever, but you can't tell me that like this isn't like Lucci's standing down, right? And if we're to expand that out, then it's like, yeah, 100%, like, in the grand scheme of if there was a fight to break out, Lucci and Kaku are a force to swap. You know what I mean? They're more of an issue on the Straw Hat side than they are against them, right? Because against them, it's like Luffy can handle it, but even if you swap Lucci and Kaku to the other side, and Luffy has to deal with Kizaru and Saturn, and Zoro has to deal with one of them, right? And then there's 9 vice admirals. Yeah, whatever, they're weak, whatever, but there's still 9 of them, and then 30,000 things. You add Lucci to that mix on the other end, that's also kind of bad, you know?
Yeah, better on our side than the other side. I agree.
Yeah. So right now, I feel like it makes more sense that they are on the Luffy side. I'm more questioning what happens after, right? Do they just join up to the Grand Fleet?
That's a hard one, because, like, I can't even see them as pirates. Like, I know some people are saying Cross Guild, and I think that's cool. I think Cross Guild Assassins would be awesome, but, like, at the same time, it's like Cross Guild's after Marines. Like,
yeah, but fighting...
Lucci is still, like, Dark Justice at the end of the day.
But he's, like, Dark Justice as in, like...
He just likes to kill people.
Yeah, and then Kaku just like ships, right? Like he has a ship fetish, so it's
Kaku likes Lucci and he just follows him wherever, to be honest.
Oh, and Buggy has some good shipwrights. Did you saw the? We're naming it the Last Laugh, but like that ship, Kaku would have a good time on that ship.
Yeah, Kaku would be having a laugh. That is for sure.
Yeah, that. I don't know what to think about them post Egghead though.
By the end of the entire series, what do you think they're going to be doing? Because I still see Lucci and Kaku as government assassins by the end of the series. Maybe not like not for like Imu and like, you know, the Gorosei anymore. I feel like by the end of the story, I feel like the world government's going to be so reformed that maybe even Vivi's the leader. And then all of a sudden we have Lucci as Vivi's actual assassin bodyguard. Like, I feel like that's also possible, or even like a different king, right? Like, after the world government and the Gorosei and Imu loses, it's not like the world government's gone and all these kingdoms stop meeting each other at the Reverie. Like, they're still going to be, like, hanging out and, you know, discussing, like, politics. So maybe Lucci's going to be the guy who guards all of them, you know? Maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Or likes Zoro had it right. He saw the future in Eni's lobby, and by the end of the series...
Stop. Okay, well, thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for stopping in today. I appreciate you guys for staying until the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again, Par, for joining us as well. I didn't hear what you said, actually. I bleeped that one out. But do you have any finishing thoughts for anybody here?
Hey, we're eating well. I think this is the time to pull out the popcorn, because
we're eating, feasting, really.
Yeah. I think this chapter, next chapter, technically next chapter is like off of a scheduled break, so I would imagine next chapter is going to be kind of insane.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
With that being said, though, Par, last question. You know, answer it long, short, however you want. Do you think Vegapunk will make it out of this island all right? I feel like I ask that all the time, but you know, obviously opinions can change chapter to chapter. How are you feeling about Vegapunk making it out of here? Better? Hopeful? Not hopeful? Do you see the Vice Admirals and you're like, Vegapunk's dead? I
think for a long time, Vegapunk dying has been the most probable outcome. And the reason why it's less probable now is because prep time. Like Vegapunk has enough time to create a situation where the world government gets what they want. They kill Vegapunk, but he also still exists. You know what I mean? Like that's how absurd this situation is right now, where they have organs. They could create a body double. Hell, they can make it even actually Vegapunk connected to Punk Records. Who knows? And then the moment they leave, that Vegapunk is now lobotomized, right? Like they could do so much with that, right? And maybe the situation is like the other Vegapunk has like a different fruit hat or something like that. And they take the one with the apple one. But instead, Vegapunk is the one with the peach hat or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. It's like Alabaster, where they had like the 9 supersonic ducks and they all had somebody different.
Yeah, something like that, right? And it's like with prep time, now things have changed. Vegapunk, I think... Vegapunk dies, but Vegapunk lives. I think that's the situation. And honestly, that's the situation that diffuses it. Everybody wants Vegapunk, so everyone gets Vegapunk, right? Like, we have satellites. Like, we have all the equipment to give everyone Vegapunk. Kill him, live him, like, whatever. Do him, like, whatever you want to do to Vegapunk, you can do it now. And if Vegapunk's thinking like the way it makes sense, right, then I think it would make sense to just make clones, doubles. Why not?
Yeah. And then, I mean, going back to the satellite thing for a second too, like, Shaka could be dead. Pythagoras could be dead. But even if we don't rebuild them now, we can always rebuild them later. Like, Vegapunk's, unless he truly does just get lobotomized, like, he can always just rebuild them whenever he wants.
Exactly. Prep time is everything. Prep time is so crazy for Vegapunk.
Especially on the Labo phase. The dude's in his home turf. The guy's at home. He can go to the kitchen and, open the drawers.
Yeah. It's like, it's not the same. Like, if you have a party at someone else's house and then you spill drinks on yourself or something, you can't change your clothes unless you brought change of clothes. But at your house, you got a whole closet. You got a whole
closet. Yeah, Vegapunk's got the closet. GG.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah. So, if Oda doesn't use the prep time, it's a little weird. So, I would want to see the prep time to be
No, he already has the prep time. What are you talking about? He has the backpack on.
Yeah. Backpack. Everything's in.
Backpack
Dora's ready to go.
He is ready to go. Well, with that being said, hey, thank you, Par, for joining us yet again. We really appreciate it. And you guys, like I said, thank you